What is up, my Fin fam? It's the end of February. We got the NFL Combine going on this week. That's right, the Miami Dolphins. Our general and captains are down there, Sully and Hafley, and they had a little conversation today with the public about the future of the Miami Dolphins and the things that they have to say. Sully was up there talking, answering questions about Tua, about the draft, about players, free agency. Had a whole lot to say, and Hafley also had a whole lot to say. I think after these interviews, it cleared up a lot of us Fin fans' questions heading into these next few weeks of the offseason before the draft rolls around. I think this combine is going to be really good for the Miami Dolphins. We're going to break down everything that Hafley and Sully had to say. We're going to go through with a fine-tooth comb. But before we get into that, I got a few things that I want to talk about myself. And as always, the Discord line will be open if you want to join in. Go ahead, hit that Discord link, hop in the voice chat, head over to the tavern, and hop on up here. I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts. But first, I would like to get this off of my chest first. This came to me today, this morning, before Sully and Hafley had their interviews at the Combine, and it was just a thought that rolled through. But of course, the way my brain works, I play through all scenarios, and I don't necessarily agree with this. I don't necessarily stand behind this. I just wanted to get this thought out there to the world, to you guys, to get y'all's opinions. I'd love to talk about it afterwards. But please, before anybody jumps into the chat, or anybody jumps up to the channel to voice their opinions, please let me finish. And then we will open it up for discussion. Because we got a lot to talk about, right? We got a whole lot to talk about. Make sure y'all smash that like and subscribe. We'll talk about it later. I'm busy right now, okay? Go play your game. Close my door, please. Alright, so what if Ollie Gordon ends up as our number one back, right? So picture this. We look at Green Bay and how they ran their offense. They ran their offense right with Josh Jacobs. Mostly they had a little bit of Emmanuel Wilson, but Josh Jacobs did get the bulk of the usage. And if you look at Josh Jacobs, to me he kind of reminds me more of Ollie Gordon and not so much Devon Achane. And if we go back to Houston, the Bobby Slowick days, when Bobby Slowick was over there in Houston, we look at the running backs that they had over there. They had guys like Joe Mixon, Dare Ogunbowale, and Devin Singletary. Again, these are 3-down backs. These are big, powerful backs running up the gut, running up the middle. These aren't these types of backs that you particularly run out of the field to catch the screens, etc., etc. So I'm picturing an offense with a more physical running back, right? So to me, I feel like we could see this year, Ollie Gordon develop into running back one and Devon Achane becoming a valuable asset that the Miami Dolphins have on the roster. I could see Devon Achane becoming a valuable asset, somebody that they trade away come trade deadline. Now, like I said before, I don't necessarily agree with this. I'm just saying this was a thought that went through my head, and I'd love to talk about it with everybody. So, the line is open. You want to hop up in the Discord. You want to discuss what's on your mind. If you're excited about the future, if you're excited, if you're not excited, what worries you, what players that you don't want to see go, let me know. What's up, Daddy Dean? Welcome in, welcome in. I don't know if you've seen the pressers from the combine yet or not, but we're going to go over it shortly. I was just talking a little bit about my thoughts as far as Ollie Gordon and Devon Achane go. I just feel like the way that the way that Jeff Hafley and Bobby Slowick are most likely going to build the team, I feel like throughout the year, Devon Achane is going to slowly fall out of the RB1 role, and it's going to be more Ollie Gordon, and Devon Achane is going to end up as an asset for this team. Not that that's a bad thing, because, I mean, if we go back and we look at some of the things that Hafley and Sully are saying, is they want to get younger, right? Well, Devon Achane is not necessarily young. I mean, he is, but as far as a running back goes, he's kind of like in that mid-range. He's only got a good 3-4 more prime years left in him. Yeah, is it something that we can build on for 2 years from now? For sure. But is he also something that we can build on for 2 years from now? Trading him away at trade deadline, getting a couple picks for 2027, maybe an instant player to begin with. Who knows? Like I said, I don't necessarily stand behind it. It was just a thought that went through my head, and I wanted to put it out there because I would love everybody else's opinion on that. How do you feel? And again, it also depends on how Ollie Gordon comes out here next year and performs too as well, right? He doesn't necessarily mean he's going to come out and do the same things that Josh Jacobs does or that Joe Mixon was doing. But Daddy Dean, let me ask you a question, right? Like, that sounds all good now. But let me ask you a question. What if he gets injured next year? What if he has an injury like Tyreek Hill did? I think if they start cooking and Ollie Gordon starts cooking, because like I said, I think this scheme is going to be different. It's not really going to be suited best for Devon Achane. But I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I love Devon Achane. I want him to be on this team until his freaking tires fall off. You know what I mean? Like running them treads to the ground and then retread them and keep them going. But we don't know what this offense is going to look like beyond this year. Like, we might not even know what this offense looks like through this year. We're not in a position to put any kind of real team together. Like, these guys are rolling into 2026 with their hands tied behind their backs, holding hand grenades. Kind of not in a good position. And they addressed that today in the combine at their pressers. And we're going to go over those. Pretty interesting. They had a whole lot to say. They answered questions regarding Tua, regarding free agency, regarding the draft. Jeff Hafley answered a bunch of questions about how he expects this team to be and how he expects his culture and the locker room to look next year. I think it answers a lot of questions for all those mock drafters out there. I think after you listen to these pressers, you'll pretty much have a good idea of the type of players they're going to be looking for, so you can go ahead and throw your mock drafts together. And they'll probably be pretty accurate now. So I'll let you mock drafters know right now one thing to go ahead and look for in a player. Because if they have this on their resume, they're most likely not going to be getting drafted to the Miami Dolphins. If they have any kind of off-field problems, go ahead and just pass right over them. Don't Don't even give them any second consideration. Because Miami is not a place to bring a young player that has off-field problems. We need a bunch of kids with heads on their shoulders. Yeah, they definitely need to keep it split up. They definitely need to keep it split up, Daddy Dean. Because if not, then yes, you run players into the ground, cause injuries, and that's never good for nobody. So let's go ahead and let's get into Sully's presser. I think we can get more than a first for A-Chain, to be honest, bro. I think we can get more than a first.
Yeah, it's humbling. Very appreciative. I think anytime your peers view you in a good light, it means a lot to you. So yeah, humbling and grateful for that. I tell you what, Green Bay's full of. They got a lot of really good people up there on that front office. I think when you look at Milt Hendrickson, John Wojciechowski, Richmond Williams, Lee Gissendaner, all those are very capable of sitting in this chair. They all bring a lot to the table, different personalities, different skill sets, but all will have an opportunity, I think, in time to do this.
What led you to Jon Robinson, and what do you expect?
Yeah, Kyle Smith and Jon Robinson, for me, will be tremendous resources. Obviously, with J-Rob, he's sat in this chair before. He will be a tremendous sounding board for me. He understands what's ahead, the pitfalls, the way that I looked at it when I was piecing this together is, obviously the current GM, Jon Robinson, has been a GM. Kyle will be a GM. So I thought all of us together would be a pretty good team.
Jon, so the old regime, they made the move at quarterback to bench Tua later in the year, go with Quinn Ewers. With you guys coming in, what are you doing to evaluate the quarterback position heading into this year?
Yeah, so we're evaluating the entire roster, right? As it pertains to Tua, I know that question is coming, so I'll just get ahead of the curve. We've had conversations with Tua.
They've probably been asked this question 100 million times, and answering this question is probably almost a muscle memory to these guys. But let's hear what he says this time.
And his representation, everything's on the table, including the potential of a trade. We don't know which way that's going to go. There's a lot of different factors at play, a lot of conversations being had. But evaluating the roster, Quinn did a nice job towards the end of the year. Excited about what's ahead for him. Tua, I thought, even though things didn't go well at the end of the year, did some good things along the way. And it's my job to infuse competition into that room along with every other room as we go down the road. Go ahead.
So he said he's exploring all options for a trade. Here's my personal opinion on what's going to happen with Tua and this team. I do believe they are wholeheartedly trying to trade him away. And I do believe that if they cannot get a trade, they're just going to let him go. I don't see Tua Tagovailoa being on this team next year. I just don't see it. I'll talk more on why a little bit later once Sully continues to go through. They kind of hit on a couple more reasons, and I'll dive deeper into it then. So go ahead, smash that like and subscribe, and let's keep it rolling.
The franchise, how much, if at all, do you just consider the other teams in your division?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to be in tune with what's going on in the division. We have a way of doing business. We have kind of a standard that we want to adhere to, pillars within our process. But yeah, I think you always have to be aware of who you're playing within the division and what it's going to take to beat those football teams or compete with those football teams.
As the draft has gotten older, more players staying school, NIL, how do you weigh things differently in the equation of players now than in the past? And does it change in the first round? That's where you're going from.
Sure. I mean, I think at the end of the day, like when you're talking about the draft, you know, you have to do what you need to do to help your football team. Age, injury history, consistency of performance, all of that comes into play. I think if you can
age, injury history, consistency of performance. There's 3 boxes right there that Tua Tagovailoa does not check. Let's move on.
help it, you don't want a player going into or close to going into a second contract around 30 years old. Having said that, the climate of college football.
Another box that Tua Tagovailoa would check going into his second contract at 30 years old. Let's keep going.
There are situations where you're going to have to look at those things and consider that to get good football players.
On the Tua front, how do you balance just who's best in the locker room and on the field versus just the salary cap implications that are so large?
Sure. I mean,
all right, so what the guy asked is he asked, like, with the Tua Tagovailoa situation, is how you balance that presence in the locker room and the salary cap situation. Not so much in those exact words, but that's kind of what I heard.
I think when you're talking about Tua or any other player, obviously there's a financial component. There's a level of play component. We're going to exercise discipline, long-term vision and future with every decision we make, whether it's Tua or any other player within our organization.
Speaking of quarterbacks, you had a pretty good one. He's going to be a free agent. What do you see from just from the guy that you traded for a couple years ago to the guy you became?
Sure. Very happy for Malik on a personal level, the situation that he's put himself in. Malik's a very, very good kid. It's a testament to him and how he played and the opportunities that he got. As it pertains to the Miami Dolphins, listen, I think I'd be lying to you. Any team that is potentially in a needy quarterback situation, if they tell you they're not talking about Malik Willis, that would be a lie. But we've talked about a lot of people, a lot of free agents. Malik's just one of them. We have no idea what that's going to look like in our room. Is it going to be multiple draft picks? Is it going to be a free agent along with Quinn? Who knows? We have so many factors at play. We got a lot of decisions to make as we move through the next couple weeks. But I wish Malik the best. A lot of like for the human being. He's a great kid.
So I mean, honestly, in my opinion, from that is like he gave Malik as many flowers as he can without saying like we're not going to be getting him. He did say that like he was on the radar and he was probably in consideration, but other things are also in consideration. You've heard him talk multiple times about the salary cap and our financial situation. So that being said, he's slowly, like very slyly killing the Malik Willis rumors right there. Let's keep it rolling. Oh, and to go back to the locker room question, so basically, like here's my true honest opinion on why I feel like Tua Tagovailoa is not going to be here, is because they want to clear. They want to do a full clear of everything, like all the bad seeds that were on this team. And Tua's a part of that, unfortunately. Like I said, he doesn't check all the boxes that Sully had mentioned a little bit ago. Age, injury history, consistency. How old are you when you're going into your second contract? Tua Tagovailoa doesn't fit into that category at all. Let's just go ahead and say bye-bye to Tua Tagovailoa. Miami Hurricane edge rusher Messidor also can't be crossed off the list. You want my honest opinion, Daddy Dean? If Miami Dolphins were smart, they would turn the 8 picks, which he's about to talk about shortly, turn those 8 picks into more than 8 picks. Let's trade out of the 11 pick. Let's move back a little bit. Still get a guy. We could still get a guy. Move back a little bit. Gain a couple extra picks, later round picks, and fill all these holes because of the 30 free agents that we got coming off of this team. More than half of them are not going to be able to be re-signed. Especially if they do what I think they're going to do with Tua, and that's do a post-June 1st cut, and that's to where they eat all $99 million of his salary cap this year to clear the books for next year, which would also make sense for them to franchise tag Devon Achane, and we'll find that out soon, right? March 3rd is the deadline for the franchise tag. But I don't think Devon Achane wants to play on a franchise tag. We'll have to see. They're going to have to sit Devon Achane down and have that conversation this weekend and be like, look, man, you're our guy. We love you. We just can't afford to pay you right now. Thanks, Tua. Thank your quarterback for that. Don't worry, he's not going to be here. And then in 2027, depending on how things go, he either gets paid or they ship him off. I don't think we'll see a big money contract on Devon Achane this offseason. I think you'll see in the next coming days, you'll see Devon Achane coming down Adam Schefter's Twitter feed with the franchise tag and a little meme saying that the Miami Dolphins just franchise tagged Devon Achane. And of course, I'll come out and I'll have my little short. You'll see me that morning coming out, letting y'all know. March 3rd, we'll know by then, for sure. For sure. Because if we don't sign a franchise tag, then we're giving him some kind of contract. And if we give him some kind of contract, unless they push everything back towards the back end, like, we're not going to have a lot of other money elsewhere to play around with to fill the holes that we need just to be able to even field a full team, right? We almost had these problems last year too. I remember us talking about, are we going to be able to field a full team? Like, we're short on safeties and corners and etc., etc. We're going to be running into the same situation this offseason. We're going to be having questions like, man, are they going to be able to fill this whole team? Because like I said, if we don't turn our 8 draft picks into at least 11 draft picks, it's going to be a lot of holes not getting filled, which is okay. We're not expecting, this isn't a win now year, ladies and gentlemen. If we come out here and get more than a couple wins, we should be happy. But we're not going into this year with the highest of expectations that the Miami Dolphins are making it to the Super Bowl in year 1. No, they got to clear the books. We got to clear the cap. We got to clear the negative energy, and we got to change it. Let's keep going with what Sully had to say about what the future of the Miami Dolphins have in store.
You personally going through a team transition midway through the draft process. What are some of the challenges of going to a different team midway through this draft cycle? What steps can you and your staff take to kind of mitigate things potentially getting lost in translation?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Change teams. What are some of the challenges of halfway through a draft cycle? Being with a new staff, new scouts.
Gotcha.
What are the challenges of how to mitigate those challenges?
Sure. I think you just have to set a standard and an expectation as you move through. Like, part of my job, if you get away from the roster for a second, part of my job as we move down the road is to be very clear in the way that I communicate with our personnel staff going through the free agency window. the draft window. Make sure they understand their roles and their responsibilities, and then sit back and watch them work.
Cap, to answer your question, Slowick technically did work on the team with Kirk Cousins, but he was on the defensive side of the ball during that time.
Where are we strong? Where are we weak? What potential changes do we need? I will say to this point, I've been very pleased. I thought they did a wonderful job in draft meetings. I thought their background on players was very thorough. I did not see anybody in that room who did not have a deep passion and care for what they were doing, which was good to see.
So the question just presented to him was, can your salary cap structure support losing a Tua and signing a Malik Willis?
Yeah, you know what? I don't want to get into all the what ifs in terms of who we may acquire and may not acquire. I understand the question. Obviously, you know, it's no secret that we're in a bit of a strain salary cap wise. I think, you know, you can.
Isn't Devon A-Chain still on his rookie? Like, this will be his 4th year. I gotta double check that. Let's keep it rolling. I'm gonna double check that.
You can always do what you want to do within the salary cap. That means you have to kick things down the road. We're in a position, without speaking specifically, I think we're in a position where we need to.
So he's talking about, he had said it just before, like, you can kick things down the road, and this is what I was talking about, how I feel like this is why I think they'll just go ahead and get it out of the way, the whole Tua situation. Just get it out of the way, get it over with now.
Get back into a healthy state within our salary cap. So, yeah, I mean, I think anytime you look around the league, there are teams that kick the can down the road every week. So can you? Yes. Will we? I'm not here to say that.
Ron, things are definitely different with you taking over, but the Dolphins haven't been afraid to release or trade star players. Is there anyone on the roster currently that you view as untouchable or that you want to build this thing up with?
Yeah, I mean,
so I don't know if you heard the question or not, but the question was basically talking about releasing the players, i.e. Tyreek Hill, Chubb, James Daniels, the ones that we saw get released recently. He had mentioned if there was any players that were not releasable.
Good question. I think the right way to approach that is, there are players that we see as building blocks as we move down the road. My job as the general manager, if the phone rings, I have to listen. Any player is tradable at a certain price, but there are certain guys that we definitely want to be part of the long-term future that are on this roster currently that we think are the right kind of guys. They're wired the right way. They infuse the locker room with the right kind of grit, toughness, leadership that you're looking for, and they're good players on the field.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do think that Minkah Fitzpatrick is one of those players. I don't think Minkah's going anywhere. What's up, Liz? How you doing?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, Howie goes without saying. He's one of the best in the business. Very creative in how he does things. Very forward thinker. I mean, his success and the success of that team speaks for itself. A ton of respect for Howie.
Seems like an ideal way to win would be with a young quarterback not taking up a huge chunk of the salary cap, being able to spend money so early. Why do you think nobody's been able to win doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can't look at those things in a vacuum. There's so many factors at play. I don't want to speak on what's going on in other people's buildings. I'm not in that building. I don't know what's happening with the roster. I don't know in particular what issues they're having injury-wise, off-field. I can't really speak to that.
I love Happy Evelyn and her always so positive attitude towards the Miami Dolphins. It's the best. Over under for wins next year, 4.5.
Yeah, I think anytime you have a young quarterback, you want to build infrastructure. You want to put a good football team around him so you can go be as competitive as possible.
Established position of quarterback. Why wouldn't a quarterback lead a team and draft a quarterback every year or as often as they possibly can?
Sure. I mean, look, I grew up in Green Bay. You know the history there. I was not with Ron Wolf, but Ron Wolf's fingerprints were all over what we did as I moved through my career with Ted Thompson and Brian Gutekunst. I mean, I think back when we had in 2000, we had Aaron was our starter in 2008, but he was a young quarterback. He was not Aaron Rodgers yet, and we drafted Brian Braum in the second round and Matt Flynn in the seventh. And I think if you just look at the history of what Ron did, who Brett Favre's backups were with Hasselbeck and Aaron Brooks and Ty Detmer, and you can go on and on, Kurt Warner. I don't think you can ever have too many quarterbacks. I think that the value of the position cannot be overstated. So I think that you have to infuse as much competition into that room every year that you possibly can, but I think it depends on where you are as a team as to when you do that value-wise within the draft.
All right, guys, so he basically told all of us right now, he basically told us we're going to be drafting a quarterback. My question for you, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're here live or whether you're showing up afterwards, drop it down below. Who do you think the quarterback is that we're going to target in this draft, or quarterbacks for that point? Who do you think that QB is? What round do you think we get him in, pick, etc.? Or if you want to hop up here and you want to talk about it, Discord line's always open. You know how to get here. If you know, you know. Let's keep going.
Well, I mean, you only have 53, right? So, I mean, if you have a bunch of guys that are taking up roster spots that aren't going to play, I just don't think you have the flexibility to do that.
There was some chatter about the perception of that to check the products.
Alright, so the question here, she's basically asking him about the whole process of him hiring Jeff Hafley, because there was a lot of murkiness around that idea. Sully was brand new coming in, and it was right after he had a couple interviews already, and he had said things like, I'm gonna do what's best for the team and not what's best for my personal interests. And then shortly afterwards, he hires Jeff Hafley as the head coach. A lot of questions and murkiness rolls around, talking about, he's hiring his buddy. I was on a show when Jeff Hafley got hired. We were already talking about it when he got hired. I was giving him my reasonings to why I didn't feel like it was a buddy hire. I felt more like they knew he was the best guy for their job, and if they didn't take it, they probably would lose him, and he confirms it.
Do you have a response to those who are receiving it that way? Any thoughts about how the process is set up?
Sure. Could not have been more impressed with Kelvin or Patrick. They did a phenomenal job. They were legitimate candidates. The truth of the matter is there's a pace and a timing as to which you have to move to make sure that you're going to get your guy. You can't get left holding the bag. At that point in the process, it was clear to us that Hafley was who we wanted to go after, and he had other options on the table. So there was a timing element to where we had to get on down the road to make sure that we weren't going to lose him to somebody else. Cannot say enough good things about Patrick Graham. I was with him in Green Bay. He's a phenomenal coach. He will continue to do great things in this league. And Kelvin was very, very impressive, and I have no doubt that he'll be a head coach in this league one day. His energy, his command of the room. I think if you want to build a bully, Like Kelvin, he can lead men. There was a toughness and a command that he had, and his ability to articulate that, and it wasn't false bravado. I mean, he walked out of the room and we all kind of looked at each other like, wow, that was really impressive. I have no doubt as he gets down the road in his career, he'll have a lot of opportunities.
So, yeah, basically he just answered the question and was like, look, man, if we didn't take Hafley, we probably wouldn't have Hafley. And we were discussing that, too. It was like, what if we do wait? Wait for that interview with Clint Kubiak or Chris Shula, and then Jeff Hafley gets hired and come to find out Clint Kubiak or Chris Shula, neither one of them had even the thought of coming here. Our head coach right now could be... Who would it be right now? What coach options are left? So they made the wise decision. They did it when they had to. Yeah, it seemed kind of early, preemptive, and it definitely seemed like a buddy move. But I'm glad that he got asked that question and used that opportunity to clarify that up. So let's keep going. And make sure y'all smash that like and
Spread them
subscribe.
out, quick passing game, offensive team, right? You guys are coming in from Green Bay, a little bit different of a scheme. Like, what are you guys going to bring to the table with this new regime as far as what product you're going to put out on the field?
Yeah, I mean, so as it pertains to me, I'm looking for good football players. My job is to build a foundation, something that's long-term, sustainable. In terms of scheme, I mean, that's a Bobby Slowick, Jeff Hafley, Sean Duggan question. I'll let those guys speak to the particulars there. It's my job, our job as a personnel staff to bring in as many good football players as we can so that they have the flexibility to call the game aggressively, that gives them flexibility to call the game, those kind of things.
And I like that answer too, that question and that answer. That's basically letting us know. He let us know without exactly letting us know. Like, listen, if you don't like the players I'm putting on the field, you can blame me for that. That's my responsibility. If you don't like how football's being played on the field, listen, you go talk to those other guys on that one.
Sure. I mean, I think the first thing I would say when it comes to Tyreek Hill in particular, marvelous player, right? One of one, Hall of Fame caliber, very, very appreciative of what he accomplished here in Miami. I think when you look at just where we were as a salary cap, obviously he's dealing with an injury right now, his age. It just made sense for us to move on down the road. He was very understanding. He could not have been more professional in our phone call. And then with Chubb, kind of along the same lines, very good player, accomplished a lot of really good things. There's just salary cap implications where we kind of need to get, we need to get younger and cheaper, and those were some avenues for us to do that. But very good players here, very appreciative of what they did while they were with the Dolphins.
We need to get younger and cheaper. Younger and cheaper.
Yeah, I think you have to take it all into the equation. I mean, I'm not here to say that it should or it shouldn't. That's a team by team, case by case basis in terms of how you weigh that. I think like I said, I think a lot of Malik as a human being. He's a talented player. What his future holds, I'm not here to say. Whether that pertains to the Miami Dolphins or somebody else, we got a lot of work to do here to figure that out. I think Tua had some bright moments. I think Tua, if he was standing here today, would tell you there were some moments he wishes he had back, some decisions he had back. Tua has accomplished a lot of really good things in his time in Miami. I think people that are Miami Dolphins fans should be proud to have had him here, and we'll see where it goes. I think Tua believes that he can still be a high-level quarterback in this league. I think that's what his desire is to do. Where that happens remains to be seen, whether that's here or elsewhere.
And see, the way that he says that kind of just doubles down, right? Like the way that he said that. I'll play it back. It was just like the way that he said that remains to be seen.
some bright moments. I think Tua, if he was standing here today, would tell you there were some moments he wishes he had back, some decisions he had back. Tua accomplished has accomplished a lot of really good things in his time in Miami. I think people that are Miami Dolphins fans should be proud to have had him here, and we'll see where it goes. I think Tua believes that he can still be a high-level quarterback in this league. I think that's what his desire is to do. Where that happens remains to be seen, whether that's here or elsewhere.
Where that happens remains to be seen, whether that's here or elsewhere. That kind of reminds me of the Teron Armstead interview with Jalen Waddle the other day. I don't know if any of y'all watched that or not, but there's a moment where Teron Armstead had Jalen Waddle talking about Mike McDaniel, and I don't know if Jalen Waddle was just kind of figuring out what to say, or if he was like on the sly taking shots at Mike McDaniel, because he was he was doing the and the ums throughout it. It was wonderful. He said it in a past tense. Have had him here. Past tense. Cap for life. Thanks for pointing that out. Where are we going to have the party at, ladies and gentlemen? You think Pete's going to throw the party? You think we're going to be attending over at Pete's place? If he doesn't throw a party, trust me, I'll throw a party for you guys. We can all have fun over here. Have some music going. Have some drinks. Pass around the ganja. All the good stuff. Oh, show. And like I said, I do believe that they have feelers out there, right? I do believe that they have the feelers out there, and they're trying to get a trade together for Tua. Because, let's be honest, you don't want to eat $100 million of cap. You don't want that to happen. No team wants that to happen. So I do believe that they are trying to get a trade going. But we'll see if they can get it going. We'll see if they can get a trade going. Because if they don't, I do believe the route that we're going to take, and this presser kind of, Sully, some of the things that he was saying in this presser today kind of accentuate the fact that they might do a post-June 1st cut, right? What would that mean? Doing a post-June 1st cut on Tua, not a pre-June 1st cut? That means we eat all of the dead cap this year. We eat all of this cap this year, clear the books for next year, go into 2027 with a clean slate, and just kind of have a hope and a prayer for 2026. Which might have been the terms that these guys laid out. Might have been the terms that Sully laid out when he came over here. He's like, man, I'm going to clean y'all's books in year one. It's going to look really ugly. We're going to get rid of a lot of your favorite players. We're going to get younger because we want to develop through the draft. We want to grow and we want to develop players. You're not the problem, JC. It's your avatar. No, I'm just kidding. 24 hours of stream hopping, Joe says. The party to every stream. That's right, man. It's going to be a big celebration the day Tua gets cut. I want to know y'all's opinions on Devon A-Chain. So I don't know if y'all were here in the beginning or not. I did lay out a question or a thought that I had in my head. I don't necessarily stand behind it. I don't necessarily believe it. It's just something that came through my head. So of course I got to run it through the machine up there, right? Go through all the variables and think about it and see, like, man, could this work? I feel like Devon A-Chain is not going to be the type of runner to fit this scheme the way that Bobby Slowick and Jeff Hafley are going to want to run this offense. Because if you go back and you look at the Green Bay offense and how they ran with Josh Jacobs, and you go and you look at the Houston offense back in the day a couple years ago when they had Bobby Slowick over there calling the plays, they were using more of a 3-down, a power back. They weren't using a guy like Devon A-Chain, where you use him out of the backfield, you use him in the slot. They were using him north and south. You had Joe Mixon, Devin Singletary, Dare Agumbawale over there in Houston. And then in Green Bay, the last couple of years, you've had Josh Jacobs. Big guys run up the middle. Ollie Gordon fits that scheme a little bit better, right? Ollie Gordon definitely fits that scheme a little bit better. So what, like I said, I don't stand behind this, and this is not what I'm saying is going to happen. It's just thought, and I want to talk about it to hear y'all's thoughts and opinions on it. What if Ollie Gordon becomes number 1 running back next year, and Devon A-Chain ends up becoming an asset, a very valuable asset that we could trade because Ollie Gordon takes over the number 1 role? Y'all going off in the chat. Keep it up. Make sure y'all smash that like if y'all have not already. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. You won't regret it. I promise you. And if you've been here and you want to come up here and you want to talk, you know how to get up here. The Discord is always open. I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts. And I'm sure the folks downstairs will too.
A really tough salary cap situation, but they were able to get back to the playoffs right away. The Dolphins are in a similar situation. What gives you the confidence?
Sure. Again, I mean, I'll put it on me. I think where we are as a roster, like here's the reality of it. And you guys know this. We have 8 picks, right? I mean, as we sit here today, we have 8 picks. It's my job to be very creative and aggressive in how we use our 8 picks, and then our undrafted free agency process, and then the 53 cut, and then, practice squad steals. We got to build this thing out, but we have to build it out so that it's sustainable over time. You can't do that overnight. So at the end of the day, I mean, to answer your question, I'm going to do everything in my power, 365 days a year, to infuse competition into every room by the avenues given within player acquisition.
Final two.
How do you navigate guys maybe test a certain threshold both in this role and then thinking back last year and
Sure. I mean, I think anytime you're evaluating offensive linemen, first and foremost, it comes back to the.
All right, before he gets into the offensive lineman talk, right? I just want to point this out. Our offensive line is going to be 10 times better next year before we even snap the ball. I just want to let you guys know that. By not having Tua Tagovailoa on this team, not having our left-handed quarterback on this team anymore, our football players can go back to playing football the way that they grew up learning how to play football. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, our offensive line is better than it's been allowed to be, because they've been playing with a handicap by playing for a left-handed quarterback.
Tape, right? I mean, are they productive football players on film? And then this is part of the process, how they measure, how they run, how they.
Yeah, Joe, or JC, yeah. A-Chain is definitely worth $24 million, hands down. You're not just drafting a running back that can that has breakaway speed, right? A running back that can take the top off defense. No, you're also drafting a wide receiver, bro. You're getting 2 players with Devon A-Chain, not just one. Yes, he's definitely worth it, bro. He's definitely worth it.
Jump, but you're dotting I's and you're crossing T's, but this process is just one part of the process. For me, and I'm speaking for me, obviously you want big guys that are good athletes, but at the end of the day, it comes back to how do they play football. And so, yeah, I'm looking for good football players. I'm not looking for guys that are particularly good testers but don't show up on tape. I think getting to know the kids. I mean, obviously, look, all of it's important. I mean, all of it's important. If it wasn't, we wouldn't be here. I think when you get a chance to watch these guys interact with, I say teammates, the guys that they're at the combine with, when you get to see how they compete in the drills, obviously the metrics, how they test athletically, and then when you get to sit in a room and interview them and see how they articulate themselves and get a feel for them, ask them what's important to them. What do they want to accomplish when this is all said and done? The things that they say back to you, it allows you to get a look under the hood. What do they prioritize? Is it winning? Is it things that are more me and I, or is it about the team? Those are the things that, as we build this out in Miami, we want culture guys. We want guys that prioritize winning football games over individual success, if that makes sense. So those are the things that I'm looking for.
All right, so for all you mock drafters out there, this was your favorite question, right? For all of the mock drafters out there, this was definitely your favorite question. It gives you a clear and concise answer on the exact type of player that Sully is looking for, that Sully's going to be looking at at the combine, having conversations with at the combine, looking at in the draft, right? Players for culture. So I already discussed before, if any of these players, if you see that they have any kind of off-field drama on their resume, you can go ahead and throw that resume out the window. Guarantee you they're not going to draft that guy. Which that's probably 6 people in your top 30 players have off-field drama. Now, let's go and let's look at how these players are playing, right? How are they playing? Like when they get first downs or touchdowns or big plays, how do they celebrate? Do they celebrate with their team? Does it seem like more of a solo type of celebration? Like these are the types of things Sully's going to be looking at, paying attention to. Now, of course, none of us can have one-on-one conversations with these people, so we don't necessarily know the extent of all of that. But from the outside looking in, there are a few things that you can look at on these players to see if these are even guys that Sully's going to be looking at. So, go ahead. Then you have a little bit more information. Go do your new mock draft now that you have that information.
Thank you.
If you're drafting any Georgia player.
And if we were playing a scramble, he could kind of play his game and do his.
So, Jeff Hafley also spoke today. I'll go ahead and let you guys hear it out. I'm going to step out and check on my children while this plays. So, I'll be here. I'll just be in the background. If anybody wants to join up here, the Discord link can be found on our profile page. Just head over to our profile page right after you smash that subscribe button, hit that Discord link, and you can hop up here. We could talk about it. I'd love to know y'all's thoughts and opinions on what we should be expecting come this off season, what we should be expecting come April in the draft. What are you expecting? What do you want to see? What don't you want to see? What players are you looking towards being on this team? And we already know what player we're looking towards being off this team. But what other players would you like to see go? That is a negative, Christian Leap. Nothing on that as of yet. I'll be right back.
Thing. Obviously him and I have a really good relationship, and he always did a really good job and gave us everything that he had.
What's your reflection on or takeaway from the busy cycle? I think you talked to 6 teams heading into the Dolphins. How do you reflect on what you learned from all of that? What was it about Miami that kind of made you case over the last?
Sure. Just really grateful. Obviously, we went right from a playoff game, and then I think I had 6 interviews in 5 days. So it was kind of a blur. It was showing up in my office in Green Bay every day and sitting in Zooms and answering a lot of questions, meeting a lot of really good people, and just really learning a lot about different organizations, how certain organizations are lined up, what the structure looks like. And then ultimately when I came here and I chose to, really take this in-person one first, a lot of that had to do with alignment. I've been a lot of places and kind of observed what it looked like with the head coach and the GM. And I always said to myself, if I ever get the opportunity to do this in a perfect world, you want to really be in alignment with the GM. And in an even more perfect world, you want to come in at the same time. So Jon-Eric and I, really, we share the same vision. And some people think, like, we did this because we're friends. Like, I hate to say we're not friends, but we kind of are. But we've never hung out outside the office. I've never been to his house. We've never went out to dinner. I think it was a mutual working relationship and mutual respect where we could have honest conversations, where he could tell me something about what he thought how we played on defense, and I could honestly tell him if I didn't like a prospect, he did. And I think it just brought us closer together, and that was a huge decision for me, as well as ownership. Their vision, my vision, a joint vision there. They made me feel really comfortable, and I really enjoyed the process, and that's why I chose to take this first and ultimately accept the job.
What's the key, Jeff, to year one success? We see it here in Green Bay. What's the key to making that happen?
Well, I think it's going to be more about the process than anything else, and it's the same thing I would have said to you in Green Bay when I first took the job. Building the foundation the way we want, the play style that we want, bringing these guys together like we want. And to me, that will be the first success, and that's going to start in OTAs on April 6th. A lot of guys, it's a little different than Green Bay because a lot of the guys are here, or in Miami because it's a little warmer than in Green Bay, so they actually want to stay there in the offseason. So I've got a chance to meet a bunch of these guys already. And what will be exciting is bringing them together, going through free agency, going through the draft, and then just trying to bring them together and build the culture of what we want it to be. And I think that will be the beginning to having some success. And then certainly, look, at the end of the day, you guys know me. I'm competitive. I want to win in everything we do. So I'm not just going to go in and say it's a success because we played hard. I want to win. But it will be the start of the process. Oh, I think it's both, right? I think there's some really fast players in college football right now, and there's some great route runners. I just think there's a lot more in the NFL because it's the best of the best, right? And there's a lot more route variety, right? In the different routes, the different concepts, the different schemes you're going to get. And it's just doing it over and over and over again. I think in college, you get a great corner and he shuts a guy down for a play and you kind of take a deep breath and relax. If you do that in this league, you're done. So it's being able to do it over and over and over again and forget about what happened on the last play. No, unbelievable person. Great friend, highly intelligent, really good with the players. What he did with Jordan, all the extra time he put in with them, you could just see that it was going to happen sooner than later, and not surprised at all. And he'll have a really, really bright future, a guy who played the position, studied the game. I'll be rooting for him because he's one of the really good guys in this league. These Green Bay guys are aggressive. You guys see that? Sorry, after this, we're going to make a shift, or you guys are all going to get me. You guys are going to get me in trouble. So I'm sorry. We're going right over here next. Go.
Jeff, has Jonathan talked to you at all about what you had there and what you did, and how was he similar or different to what you did?
The only thing Jonathan Gannon and I talked about was whether he was going to buy my house, and I haven't heard back from him on it yet, so I'm beginning to be a little bit disappointed in him. What are you willing to pay for it? Well, Coach Gannon does. I think the biggest thing is I talked to Matt and Goody and kind of gave them, before I left, my feel on all the players because they asked me to sit down with them. But if Gannon does want to call me up or any of those guys do, I'll be happy to talk. You guys know I love those players, and I love Matt. So whatever I can do in the little time that I have, I'll be happy to help them.
How do you work with Jon-Eric in that regard, and what kind of roster you'll have, and what success looks like in 2020?
Just constant conversation, and I kind of answered that about success already. Just constant conversation, communication, making sure him and I are on the same page. and I think, there's a lot of roster questions right now, and we've got work to do. How do I evaluate them and edge rushers? Yeah, I mean, the edge rusher position right now, we need to fill those. We need to fill that room up. There's not many left on the roster right now, so not many to evaluate. So we have to obviously add some depth there. But there's some good pieces in place that I'm really excited to work with. And the same with quarterbacks. There's some guys that have played football. There's some youth there, obviously. So excited to have those guys compete as well.
When it comes to the defensive front, would you prefer 4-3 type defenders or 3-4, some combination?
I like them all. I think having variation is so important. I mean, you might say we're going to be a 4-3 defense, which we'll base at a 4-3, but I'd like to get in the 4-3 structures and 3-4 structures all out of the same personnel grouping. So I'm not subbing and you're saying, no, now he's in 3-4, subbing back, now they're in 4-3. I think front variation is huge and having the ability to be multiple. At the same time, I think it's really important to find out who we end up with on this roster and figure out what we do best. And then it will be my job to put that scheme in place. I have a lot of good ideas, but at the same time, even if you look back to my past, in my first year back in the NFL, we played a ton of 3-4 variations with 4 down, and we had different guys in the inside. And then when we made a trade last year, I had to kind of flip it, and then we had some injuries, so I had to flip back. So at the end of the day, we'll do whatever we can to make sure we're playing good defense.
Why do you think Larry Johnson is so consistently been able to produce defensive linemen taking advantage?
At Ohio State, my 1 year with Larry, just a really good technical coach, really demanding with his players, builds great relationships, and he's a great evaluator. I mean, he's recruited some really, really good talent. I mean, even when I was there were some great players, and there will continue to be. And Ryan does such a great job with the evaluation process and then building those guys from the ground up. Larry's a great coach.
You talked about you wanted to be a general manager and a head coach.
Don't agree with it? That's too bad.
Like and subscribe anyways.
Like and subscribe anyways.
All right, football fans, listen up. Forget the trade deadline, forget the free agency frenzy, because we have the most important piece of NFL news you will hear all season.
Yes, absolutely. And that actually I've been thinking about a lot lately. The question was about San Francisco and seeing the alignment there. When I got there, it was Kyle's first year. It was obviously John was a new GM and Kyle, and they were coming in together. And I thought that alignment was really strong. And now what people forget, we started off 0-9, but they built it the right way. And they built a really strong foundation, and it just slowly, the improvement, where then 3 years later they went to the Super Bowl. But just watching them all work together, whether it was in football meetings or whether it was the draft process, two phenomenal human beings who are really good at what they do, who are lined up together, who weren't afraid to have hard conversations and disagree, but at the end of the day had each other's back. And that's, I think, one of the huge reasons why they've had success, but 100% yes. Hold on, can I get someone else just because I want to kind of be fair?
So what I went through with the hiring of new offensive coordinator, Bobby Slough.
Yeah, Bobby and I were together in San Francisco. Bobby was a defensive quality control coach with me, and we spent a lot of time together. Highly intelligent, really knows football, both sides of the ball. You know the story. Kyle took him on offense and trained him with the pedigree to run his system. Had success in Houston. Him and I kept in touch. Interviewed a bunch of guys.
So he's kind of giving you the gist of the story of Bobby Sloak for those of you that aren't familiar with Bobby Sloak's career and what makes him such a great offensive coordinator for us. He started his career on the offensive side of the ball. You can, if you want to go back, you can listen to the presser that he had. He breaks it all down. He started on the offensive side of the ball, and then somebody, I don't remember who it was, along the lines convinced him to go to the defensive side of the ball. So he played on the defensive side of the ball, not played, but coached on the defensive side of the ball learning the defense and ended up liking it to an extent. But yes, then when he was in San Francisco, Kyle Shanahan moves him back, convinces him to go back to offense. And, well, here he is now. A few years later, he's the offensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins. Now, what makes him so great and what makes that so great is he spent time on the defensive side of the ball. So he's an offensive coordinator who understands how defenses line up, how defenses play, how they might use disguises, spies, all of that. He has a better understanding than your typical offensive coordinator who's only ever been an offensive coach.
Bobby hit a home run. I trust him as a person, which is huge for me as a developer, because as we build this foundation, we're going to have to develop players. Like, I think that's the thing that people forget. This is about developing whoever we come out of this draft with, right? I think he's unbelievable with that, and I love his scheme.
Bobby, he had a decent chance. It was the first time play call before. What did you see? How many has advanced in that, and what signs his progress there?
Yeah, he's went through it, just like in anything else. You go through something and you learn from your mistakes or you learn from your successes. And I think, people might point out how it ended with Bobby, but look at the success that he had too. Look at what he did with the quarterback in his first year. I believe he was Rookie of the Year. Look at what he did in the playoffs. And personally, I had to coach again.
And that wasn't just a rookie C.J. Stroud. That was also a first-year head coach, DeMeco Ryans.
Against them. So I know exactly what that was like too. And then over the last year, being back in Miami, picking up some new ideas and just going through his thoughts, and you can see the growth he's had from that time, which excites me.
How do you project, how do you plan to address glaring needs in the secondary and on the offensive line?
Say that again?
Plan to address glaring needs on the offensive line and the secondary with limited cap.
Yeah, I think those are like all our needs right now. Again, anytime you have 30 free agents, there's going to be needs across the board. It's get the best players we can with the right mindset, who are great people, and then we got to develop them and coach them. That's just going to be the key to this whole entire thing, which kind of excites me.
In your opinion, is physical ability or physical IQ more essential to a versatile player to do some of that scheme and diversity front stuff?
Well, you got to have the physical tools because, I have the football IQ to do it, but there's no way I could ever play, right? So you got to have, and I'm joking. Well, no, I really don't have I'm kind of not joking, but you have to have the physical tools to have the ability to play, right? Then to play multiple positions is hard. Even what we asked some guys to do in Green Bay to move around, as I watched the tape, there's times when we might have overdone that a little bit, and then there's other guys who no problem. So you do need the football IQ, especially if you're going to ask somebody to do it early in their career. It's probably easier to do it later as they get older and they have more experience at one position. But you don't want to take somebody early and spread them too thin, because then they're not going to be good at anything.
Well, Jeff, when you talk about player development is there a position in the draft you're more partial to? Just think they come a little bit more ready?
I think it depends on the individual, to be honest with you. Just in my experience, I could tell you one position, but then I started to think about it, and a guy came in and was able to do it. I just think it all depends on the individual.
You mentioned that 0-9 start in San Francisco. In a league that's so results-oriented, how do you stay level-headed?
I think you stay level-headed, win or lose. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I take pride in. Whether we won a game, whether we lost a game, shame on me if I didn't come in the same exact way. Because if you believe in the process and you believe in everything that you're doing, and you believe in the players you have, and you believe in the coaches you have, then you got to just stick with it, no matter the situation.
And let's all put a pin in that, right? And address this in Week 10 and see if he's still coming into these games and into these press conferences with a level head. Because we're going to experience some losses. They're coming. Let's see how he handles it.
The moment I start to go one way or the other or waver or change, everyone else is going to do the same thing, and that can't happen. So sadly, I've been in those situations, and I'd be able to hold the room together. I hope not to be in that situation again, but I think it's prepared me for wins and losses to be the same guy and to stick with the people you believe in, the process that you believe in.
Speaking of keeping faith in coaches, I'm curious what you saw with Kevin. Obviously, took a lot of criticism from Philadelphia. Obviously, fans don't have insight into what you guys are doing. The crazy amount of hours you're working. What gives you faith in our
With Tua? Yeah, I mean, when I interviewed him, I was blown away. The knowledge that he has, the football experience that he has, what he did for that entire organization. Don't forget, he won a Super Bowl. And behind the scenes, what he did with that offense and with that whole team and listening to him talk and his football knowledge, and not just about offense, but about game management, about situational football. I got off the Zoom and I said to Bobby, I said, we got to try to hire this guy. And he had other opportunities and other options. I think he's going to be a huge asset to what we do. And I think often it's
Who was it that he was who's he talking about? Did anybody catch who he's talking about? Because Jeff Hafley mentioned Tua, but then goes on talking about winning a Super Bowl. And we all know Tua ain't win no Super Bowl. So if any of you heard who they're talking about, let me know. Because I don't think it was Slowick either. I didn't catch who they're talking about.
Fair to judge anybody off of one single year.
Example of that, of when you say, oh, like the football details, the IQs, do you have an example? Sometimes it makes it easy.
Yeah, we'll keep those as examples for right now to me.
The safety, when you talk about players in players coming in the draft,
Make sure you smash that like on your way in.
For an edge?
Like an edge, off-ball linebacker, that person.
Yeah, I mean, certain edge guys, when you watch the film, it starts to me with the ability to rush the passer, right? And then can they play the run? And then what you do, you look at if some of them are bigger, for example, you get a 275 edge rusher that maybe is more of a speed to power guy. Can he go inside and kick in and beat a guard with his quickness, right? Maybe he's not a speed rusher on the outside, but maybe you get him into a passing situation, you can kick him down on the inside. And then it's the same thing for an off-the-ball backer. When you look at an off-the-ball backer, how does he play in space? How does he react to the run? But then is he a guy that you can match up one-on-one with the backs and run through backs and becomes a good blitzer? So I think people make mistakes. They just watch like point of attack film. I think you got to sit back and really watch game tape to see all the different things that they're asked to do.
Jeff, when you're looking at is the whole short arms, long arms a concern to you? Is that something you really like to talk about?
With some guys it is. Some guys with short arms, I mean, they kind of get eaten up. But some guys are so quick where they can get their hands inside first and still disengage. So in an ideal world, would you love to have a guy with long arms? Yeah, absolutely. But I think there's other guys that have short arms and that are really good edge rushers or really good inside. But it is definitely a conversation at all positions.
Could they be talking about Chop Robinson here? Could that have been a direct question concerning Chop Robinson?
It's the same thing with the 5'9" corner. If you have a 5'9" corner with 33-inch arms and all of a sudden he's beat but he can reach, it makes him a lot taller than he is if he's a 5'9" corner with 28-inch arms, right? If you get a 6'1" corner with short arms, the analytics of it kind of all adds up. But good question.
Hey, Jeff, you guys struggled at closing Green Bay last year. So what did you learn in some of these games that you can take to?
So basically, what he's saying there is he's not necessarily looking for your perfect position mold, right? Like when you're thinking about drafting a player or bringing a player onto your team, like there's a mold out there that like all the teams want to go after. You know, they were talking about, we'll use the edge rushers for example, and they were talking about a big tall guy with long arms. So perfect mold is probably somebody like 6'4", 270 pounds with a wingspan of 72 inches or something ridiculous, you know what I mean? But he's not necessarily looking at that as like, oh, that's the guy I'm gonna get because he fits the mold perfectly. No. He's looking at how you're playing the position. Just because you don't necessarily fit the mold doesn't necessarily mean you don't check other boxes. So there you go, mock drafters. Take that into consideration also when you're looking through the players of possible draft prospects. Don't just pass over somebody because they don't fit the mold. Because Hafley said it right here, kind of dependent on every player in particular. Every player is different. He said a 5'9" corner with extra long arms is no different than a 6'1" corner with short arms.
Miami's a team that needs to win.
Yeah, I think you can't look at that as being black and white. There's some games where we didn't close, and there's other games where we closed with an interception in the end zone or a 4th and 1 stop. So I think you got to look game by game and try to figure out why you didn't. You know, was it scheme? Was it putting the players in good positions, bad positions? I think just like anything else, when we study our tape, and right now what we're doing is we're studying the 2 years at Green Bay, the film. It's what did we do well over the 2 years? What didn't we do well? And some of those situations we didn't do well. Some of those situations we're in position to make a play and we didn't make the play. Some of the situations I should have made a better call, right? So you kind of got to look at everything and you got to get better in everything that you do. But win or lose, you got to figure that out on the tape. It ain't just about when you don't make the play at the end of the game.
Last question.
Take like watching the game tape and the technique, but with the on-field drills this week, what can you learn about a player from those as far as like speed, maybe reaction time, things like that?
Yeah, I think anytime you can get an eval of a player live and you're really down there and you see it, you know, whether it's a DB, for example, and you can see his foot speed, you can see his ability to break and drive. But then I also think sometimes it's bigger than that. It's the guy jumping out first in the drill. It's the guy, like, got a little bit of edge to him. Is he standing straight up? Is he paying attention? Is he cheering the other guys on? Like, what's his makeup all about? So sometimes you can't see that on the tape, but you can see it when you observe a guy, and you can kind of get a feel for what he's all about. What type of energy does he have? Does he have any leadership ability, right? I think that's kind of what people miss when they say, I'm not going to come out and watch any of this stuff. I'm just going to watch it on tape, because you can't tell that on the tape. So there's nothing better than a live evaluation. All right. Good to see you guys.
Nothing better than a live evaluation. Nothing better. Oh, I didn't cut the ending of that out. Nothing better than a live evaluation. Alright, so the Hafley interview wasn't too informative as far as what we should be expecting as far as players and etc. But when Sully went through with his interview, he had kind of told us that we shouldn't expect that from Hafley, right? That's his responsibility. That's Sully's responsibility. The players, the drafting, all of that's going to be Sully's responsibility. Hafley's responsibility is going to be scheme and how the players perform on the field. So, I'd love to know y'all's opinions on all this. I'd love to know y'all's thoughts on where the Miami Dolphins are heading this offseason. This time now, the Discord is wide ass open, so go ahead and get your ass up here and let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. If you know how to get up here already. If you don't know how to get up here to talk with AFCEASTIEBOYS, it's easy. You head over to our profile page, you click on the links, and you smash that Discord link. You join the Discord, then you join into the voice channels. You hit the tavern and you'll be up here. You don't have to use your camera, it's all cool. But I would like to hear your voice. I would like to know your thoughts. I've heard enough of me, right? Well, I give those of you that want to join a few moments to get all that together. We're going to get our boring ass commercials out of the way. I know you guys have been looking up at that QR code up in that top corner this whole time. Well, that QR code, that links you straight to the Dolphins Cancer Challenge. Whoop, whoop! Big accomplishment today for Miami Dolphins and Dolphins Cancer Challenge. As of 1:03 p.m. today, the Miami Dolphins, since year one, and this is year 16, since year one have raised $100 million for cancer research. $100 million for cancer research. Oh yeah, that definitely deserves the air horn right there. If you want to go make a donation to life-changing research, go ahead and hit that QR code. Go make a donation. There's no donation too big or too small. And when you're heading over through those links, you'll see a few other links down there. You'll see our Macari page. That's a good place to go shopping for a lot of football stuff, a lot of non-football stuff. Basically, all your nerd stuff and all your sports stuff. A lot of cool stuff there, stuff that you're not going to find at your local stores. They're hidden gems that we search for. just for you guys. So head over there, smash that link, check it out, and you never know, you might find something that you like. It's also where you can get your customized AFC Eastie Boys jersey, starting at $35. You can get them as customized as you'd like. What other links do we got over there? We already got the Discord. Talked about the Discord. The Discord link is a great place to be. Not only is it how you can get up here and chat with the AFC Eastie Boys, it's also 24/7 access to the AFC Eastie Boys community. I'm just trying to build a community of football fans that just want to talk football, talk sports, talk life, get away from the daily grind that is life, and enter the world that is just straight nonsense. Good nonsense, though, not that bad nonsense, the good stuff. Discord's also where you want to be if you win any of our giveaways, because we got to be able to get a hold of you to get your deets so we can send out the winnings. And the current giveaway that we got going on right now for when we hit 500 subscribers, we're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. Less than 100 to go. So if you are not subscribed, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. But if you want to win a Mike Gesicki autographed photo when we hit 500 subscribers, it's super easy. First of all, you want to make sure you're subscribed. You want to make sure you're plugged into the Discord. And then after that, it's as easy as liking, commenting, and sharing. That's right. So make sure if you're here, come back afterwards. Drop a comment. Drop a couple comments. Who cares? Push it out into the algorithm. You got to help spread the love. Spread the love of the AFC Eastie Boys and get us out there. Not enough people get their eyes on the AFC Eastie Boys. And I'm telling you, the AFC Eastie Boys we drop a lot of the knowledge on you before anyone else does. We also keep it real. We don't necessarily flip-flop. Yes, our thoughts may change. Our views on things may change. That's why I have conversations with people, because I want to know other people's opinions, because they may be looking at it from a different lens than I'm looking at it, and be like, man, you know what? That actually makes pretty good sense. No wonder. So we don't just flip-flop because of the clicks, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to keep it real with you. We're going to keep it 100 with you all the time. Thanks for listening to our boring-ass commercials. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming. I actually need to work on some damn commercials so I can just hit a button instead of having to do all that shit, say all that shit every time. Hit me a little button, have some videos scroll through the screen for you guys. You know, get more professional and more legit with it. But that'll come with time. I got way better things I'm working on for you, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I'm pretty sure y'all would much rather us work on some music videos than some stupid commercials, right? Yeah. Who wants to see a dumb commercial? Much rather see a AFC Eastie Boys music video. But it's gonna be a fun off season. We should know by March 3rd what we're gonna do with Devon A-Chain as far as a franchise tag goes, whether it's a franchise tag or a contract extension. I didn't look it up, but I do believe that he's still on his rookie contract, right? So franchise tagging him this year would be our best choice. I think that's the best route, and that's probably the route the Miami Dolphins are going to take. Whether Devon A-Chain wants to be franchise tagged, now that's another question. That's another question. He might not want to be franchise tagged. He's kind of expressed that he wants to stay in Miami, but that don't mean nothing. That don't mean shit. We seen a couple months ago how Tyreek Hill expressed on his Twitch multiple times that he wanted to stay in Miami, but he's out. It don't mean nothing. You heard Sully say it. Every player has a price. It's my job to pick up that phone and at least listen, right? Every player has a price. Not every player do they want to get rid of, but every player has a price, he said. Every player is tradable. In the beginning, in one of the first interviews, he also did say that A-Chain was one of the building blocks for this team. So do I think they're going to trade him away? No. Not in the offseason. But if what happens, what I think is going to happen, and Olive Garden comes out here and serves all-you-can-eat hit sticks, tears it up, I can easily see Devon A-Chain becoming a very, very, very valuable asset that the Miami Dolphins have come trade deadline. So could we see Devon A-Chain become the number 2 back in Miami to Ollie Gordon? We don't know. They're definitely two different style of running backs, so it kind of just depends on the type of offense that Slowick is going to come out here and run. Which he said in his presser that it's going to be similar to what we've been seeing, right? He's just going to tweak it a little bit, add a few things here, add a few things there, change this, change that, but mostly it's going to be the same. So with that being said, you would think that you're going to see a lot more of Devon A-Chain, especially now that Tyreek Hill's gone. Which might not be wrong either. Depending on what route they go in free agency, with our 30 free agents that are hitting free agency, and more than half of them are not going to be getting re-signed. Anyone that's probably over the age of 27 probably ain't going to be getting re-signed. Could we see Devon A-Chain becoming more of an asset than a tool for the Miami Dolphins? I hope not. Like I said earlier, I don't stand behind that. It's just a thought that went through my mind, and I had to run through all the possibilities. And some of it just makes sense. But that's why I need you guys. I need y'all's thoughts. I need y'all's opinions. I need to talk about it. So hit that link. Let me do this. Maybe some of you guys are scared to go find the link. Let's do it like this. Let's do it like this. We're going to do it like this, ladies and gentlemen. Oop, I didn't mean to do that. No more mediocrity for the Miami Dolphins. Alright, I'm gonna give everybody a few more minutes. I'm gonna step outside and grab me a quick smoke. If anybody would like to talk some Miami Dolphins, or just football in general, or life, hop on up here. I'll be right back. That's for sure. He gets a pass to the left from Tua, about a 4-yard pass, and then he gets about another 16 yards. Yak to add to it. First down, Miami Dolphins. Let's effing go. Yeah. I had to kick Catndahat out. He was fucking boring. I was watching him in the background. He didn't know it, but he was fucking boring. I had to kick him out. Tua under center. Let's fucking go. Mostert with the ball. Ooh, he juggles. He goes to the right. He's rushing. He's got a hole. Oh, he fumbled the ball. Oh, and Buffalo gets the fucking ball back. This is why you gotta trade Raheem Mostert. I'm fucking telling you. Yeah, I'm fucking telling you to trade that motherfucker. What's up, man? I hope his knee was down. I don't know if his knee was down before that ball came out. Oh my gosh, that's a clear fucking fumble. No way. Oh my god. Mostert. No. No.
Anyways, draft's coming up. A lot of teams need QBs, and you need a job, you bum. Got any teams you hope don't take a QB?
Nope. You know, Matt, I have actually not put much thought into that. I have a lot going on right now, and it's just not, I'm not thinking about it. Not at all.
So maybe the Saints?
We're in the house, and the only reason I got this one, probably a field goal like the rest of the Patriots games have been, but the Jets are going to definitely get a win. And then we start the 1 o'clock slate. They won with Malik Willis, and they did it by running the ball. Tennessee over the Titans. And then we got the Bears and the Colts. The ball, so he's kind of went run eccentric over there in the Chargers. And then got the Dolphins going to Seahawks. I got a lot of question marks. Not allowed to score in the second half, and we're going to fix this season. Anyway, so the Panthers and the Raiders. This is, well, not a hard one to call. I don't know. I may have to switch next year, I'm telling you, man. I can't go through the pain and suffering like this. This was rough. This was a rough fucking year. Yes, it was indeed. Anyways, yeah, so Catndahat here. Goel over there. We gonna break down wildcard weekend for you. We got a lot of games coming this weekend. It's gonna be super exciting. We got some upsets for you. I gotta show up and bring the fun, guys. You know this guy Catndahat, he boring. Boring. Can you just be serious for once, Goel? I mean, we have some great games to talk about. Just for once. Just let's be serious. Let's talk about some football. Can we do that?
Stout couple of games that they've been playing, but this is going to decide, right now who's going to be second place in the division. So I'm going Jets all the way. Jets, Jets for the win. We're taking it. With the Browns, the Giants have just been loser fest, and they're going to continue. 0 wins, 3 losses. Moving on out of potential with Tua in questionable consideration. Even if they throw in a backup quarterback, they still got a lot of options for him to throw the ball to. They're not going to be as in sync as they were the last couple of weeks, and that's why I'm going with Seahawks over the Dolphins for you.
Now, there's a lot of homework that goes into this. We don't just look at stats and look at numbers. No, we take a lot of factors into consideration when picking these running backs for your fantasy. Tracy Jr. Now, I know a lot of you were saying, what, Cat? Are you seeing his first year ruling the backfield in Miami? He's going to be the number. My next running back on this list at number 3 is B. But, he's going to get the touchdowns. He's going to get the receptions. Trust me, if you get the chance to get him, you're number 1.
None other than the king. That's right. Adam Sandler put this guy on a mission this year. This guy is going to literally put the Baltimore Ravens on the first guy, and he gets past the first guy. It's probably going to turn into a touchdown. So he's 6 once we realize how he comes back off of his injury. He hasn't really had a full year. At your own risk. It could pay off, but...
Sunday at 3 p.m., we're going to have the high-flying Eagles putting their defense to the test against the Los Angeles Rams. Are pretty high scoring, led by Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and they're on a mission right now. They're trying to win another Super Bowl so Matthew Stafford can punch his ticket to the Hall of Fame, because without another Super Bowl, he might not make it there. But them Eagles this year, ooh, with Saquon Barkley, I don't know why he's not in MVP conversations with over 2,000 rushing yards on the season. Don't forget that little backwards hurdle he did back in week 8. Oh, it was amazing. So let's go. It's going to be a good one. Good battle between these two teams on the NFC side. Who's going to go to the NFC Championship? Fly, Eagles, fly!
It's going to be in Orchard Park, and it is going to be chilly. Forecast says it's going to be 12 degrees with a wind chill of -2. Derrick Henry pushing close to 2,000 yards. Lamar Jackson. That makes the team have over...
What's up, guys? Today we're going to give you our Week 12 picks.
Yeah, you heard him. Week 12 is in the house at the Dolphins.
Patriots.
You know who I'm going for. I think we need to find a new home for this guy. He's in the wrong house.
No.
Let's go, Dolphins.
Yeah, yo. Yeah, yo. So, ladies and gentlemen, 2026 for the Miami Dolphins. It's not going to look pretty. It's not going to look pretty at all, but we have positive outlook towards the future. We can go into this season knowing that we're rebuilding this team the proper way. The guys that they put in the building plan on building this team the proper way, and they have good communication between each other, which means that they're going to be on the same page. And if they're not on the same page, they can talk about it and get on the same page. I'm excited for this offseason. We have a lot of things that we're going to be able to talk about. A lot of stuff that we're going to be able to cover. AFCEASTIEBOYS are going to take you along for the ride. We're going to be there every step of the way. We got somebody in the building. What's up, Risky Business? Tell me, what's on your mind?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Oh, Joe, what's up, Joe?
Oh yeah. I thought I put my name, my display name as that. Hold on, let me figure this out. I don't use this often.
Oh, no worries. It's just it's my way of getting around having to pay for StreamYard. I used to use Discord back in the day with gaming and stuff anyways, and it was just an easy transition to go straight to this instead of going the StreamYard route.
Yeah, I think that was my Xbox name, actually. That's my Xbox Live is Risky Business.
That sounds like a Call of Duty name right there, buddy.
It was my nickname in college because my last name is Rist. Went from Risty, like the politician Chris Christie.
Okay.
To Risky Business.
Got you. So after hearing those, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to answer your question about is Achan more of an asset, or could he be?
Yes,
I
let
guess
me
you
hear
were
it.
asking.
Yeah, let me hear it.
I think that for one, his trade value is as high as it will be. I think it was high in the trade deadline time frame season. I think it'll be high again this year. And I also think that if the team is ever going to move on from him, they can't let him get an injury. If he gets franchise tagged, I think he'll just keep doing what he's doing. But if I think he's not franchise tagged, then they'll want to see what they want to see what they got with these other guys, right? So it's entirely possible that they shift his position a little bit to get more snaps for and handoffs for Wright and Ollie Gordon, and especially Ollie Gordon. I would love to see it like how Atlanta did their running backs, where Algier and Bijan were a lot of the time on the field at the same time. Where they would move Bijan out wide, and then they'd motion him back in to get the handoff. I would love to see that. And maybe they don't even motion him that much. Maybe they just kind of leave him as a pass catching back. Shift them out wide as often as possible. We do know that it won't be McDaniel's offense for the first time in how long is we here? 3-4 years?
4 years, yeah.
So we could see a different preference for how running backs are used, and I don't know if gadget is the right term for Achan.
No, I
he's
believe
not.
it is. I believe it is.
Yeah, he's not that prototypical build for running back. And personally, I don't think he'll be able to repeat the same success 2 years in a row. So getting creative with Achan is probably going to benefit us. And I think, like they were just saying in the interviews, this year's all about evaluating their young talent, their draft picks, and I think it's also included, the previous year's draft picks.
Yeah, and if you go back and listen to it, they emphasized young. Like, not just once, not just twice, but quite a few times they were emphasizing the young aspect, right? And if you look at a running back, and Joe, I've talked to you quite a few times, like, I've heard you say, like, running backs don't have a long time frame. So if you look at Devon Achane as far as a running back's lifespan goes, like, he's in the middle right there. He's not a young running back. He's probably got, 3, maybe 4 prime years left in him before the decline starts to hit him.
Yeah. He's at his peak right now.
Yeah.
Right? Unless there's a few that break the mold and they just do it year in, year out. Like Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry.
Well, not everybody's spending $250,000 on their body. Derrick Henry can do that because he's
Right.
literally spending so much money on his body to be able to do that.
Yep. And I think there's phenomenal running backs that come out of the draft every year.
But to go back to
So it's a position to replace itself very quickly.
to go back to what you were saying about the Mike McDaniel offense, though, it's like that's not entirely the case either, because when Bobby Slowick's introductory presser, he had mentioned that this offense was going to be somewhat similar, right? He said it's not going to be much different. You're just going to see variations happen here and there. You're going to see me implement new things. Like, it's kind of going to be the same transplanted offense, just adjustments here and there. Now, what are those adjustments going to look like? I can't tell you. I think it's going to be a mixture of...
Well, I think they gotta stop doing the Christian McCaffrey thing with Achan, because we're gonna get stale if they're like, and I think that happened to us 2 years ago. We got stale.
Well, not only do we run the risk of getting stale, but we run the risk of injuring him, and then all our assets go out the window.
Right. Yeah.
Our most
well, that's why
valuable
I really would like to see him get traded this offseason,
even if it's for like 2027 picks. Imagine you could flip him for a 2027 first.
A first, a second, and a fourth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I say
Yeah.
run that, and that's what I was saying at the beginning. I was like, I don't necessarily stand behind this. I don't necessarily stand behind it, but it just came through my mind. It's like, what if Ollie Gordon ends up being our number one running back next year, just because of the way that they're two different running backs. Like Ollie Gordon is your power back. He wants to run north and south, like straight through the blocks, straight through the holes, things like that. And Devon Achane, he's more of like an outside guy. You can toss him screens. He wants to bounce out to the outside. Two different styles. So it's like, what if Ollie Gordon comes out and he just shines better? He does better, and we're looking in week 6, and Ollie Gordon has twice the production that Devon Achane's been able to put up, and they both have like equal reps, Sell Waddle.
Yeah, I would love to see someone that we're comfortable with on 3rd and short, 4th and short, goal line. I'd love to have someone that we can depend on in those scenarios, and it's hard to do that with Achane.
Yeah, because I mean, even Tyreek Hill said that last year, right? He took a little bit of heat from Achane, but he said that last year. He in one of his conferences, he was like, Mike McDaniel needs to take Achane out of 3rd downs.
Yeah, I agree. But the problem is, like, if you are taking him out and you're bringing in that bruising back, the team kind of knows what's coming, which I guess they should on a short down situation anyway. But also not having a big QB is kind of rough there.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're
half the teams have the threat of the QB just taking it up the gut.
Right. Yes. No. And that's a factor there that we never had with Tua Tagovailoa, unfortunately. Like we
haven't had it in years.
Yeah. So like, if we could get a guy that could just pose that type of threat, or even if we just like kind of got some kind of our own style tush push, like what the Pittsburgh Steelers did, how they brought in an extra lineman to go in,
tight end or something.
Yeah, a tight end like the Colts did, or just bring in a big body that can go and do the tush push for that extra yard. It's like, yeah, it's coming, but 9 out of 10 times it's been successful across the league, right? Like, there's only a few times,
right? Until they start cracking down on it, for the linemen jumping early and that kind of stuff. Until they start doing that, we got to have our own
version,
flavor of it.
Yeah, we gotta develop some kind of version of it, but it's never been possible with the Mike McDaniel offense that he was running. But maybe Hafley and Bobby Slowick can come up with something. They can put their own version. Because, ladies and gentlemen, too, I want you to realize our offensive line has been playing horribly. Yes, I get it. I understand that you guys have not liked the play that's on the field, but please understand that as soon as they go back to playing for a right-handed quarterback, it's going to be completely different. You guys don't understand how different it's going to be for these offensive linemen. Our offensive line can be 10 times better by the first snap of next season, just because they're playing for a right-handed quarterback again. The motions are different. Everything is different. Like, you grow up playing for a right-handed quarterback, you learn motions for a right-handed quarterback. Like, you have to block a certain direction, like opening lanes and things like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do want you guys to think about that aspect, that we may suck now, but next year we could be instantly better just by changing quarterback. And it doesn't even have to be a better quarterback. It could just be a right-handed quarterback, and we already better.
Yeah, I think if we can turn Achane into 2 starters and like a rotational player, I'd take that all day. And if you can convert your running back into picks that turn into young talent at like a guard and maybe an edge or something, we could solve trench problems instantly by trading our running back. I would take it.
I saw in the draft there's a couple guys that are multi-versatile. They could play guard, they could play left tackle, or there's another guy that plays right tackle but could also play guard. Then there's also another guy that could play center and play guard. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on a guy that's multifaceted like that, or would you like a guy that is just good in that one position, like he's mastered that craft and not kind of like a jack of all trades type of player?
I wouldn't mind, based on our depth right now, I wouldn't mind having versatility because I don't think we have anyone returning that's like a guard center backup. So if Brewer goes down, if we don't have anyone that fills in there properly, we're screwed regardless of anything else on the team.
Well, that would be Austin Jackson, right? And Larry Borum. What they would do with those guys?
Well, we would. I don't think we would kick them into center. And Borum's gone, isn't he?
I don't know if he's gone yet.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming a lot of our free agents aren't going to be brought back. There's going to be very few.
Correct. Yes, I'm guessing there's going to be well over half of our free agents are not going to be coming back.
Yeah. So if you look at, I mean, you have to assume Brewer and Jackson will be around to start, but if one of them goes down, we need to have that guard that we can kick into center or a guard that we can kick out the tackle, unless we get like a true backup right tackle, but we don't even have that. So yeah, that's why I think right now, the way our depth chart is, I think versatility trumps everything. If we had more depth, I would say a pure guard.
Like somebody who's been worked at that position, yeah.
Yeah. But that used to be, or what we wanted to be Ike, where he could kind of fill in for any position on the line. That was great to have hypothetically, but he never really panned out with him.
That's who.
But it gave us more flexibility, right? We didn't feel like we had to draft this position. Maybe that was to Grier's demise, right? Remember that year that he was like, "Don't worry about the O-line. You're more worried about it than we are."
Yeah. Oh, we're worried about it, bud. Trust me. There's good reasons to be worried about it.
But I think on that. Go ahead.
Bo Stevens was the guy that I saw. He's versatile on guard and center.
From Iowa.
Yes, from Iowa.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we might nab a offensive lineman in before the 7th round. Bo Stevens could be one. He could be like that 4th round or one of the 3rd round picks that we use there. I'm curious to see though what because Hafley his specialty is defensive backs, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see what he thinks of our youth there, because we did draft a few guys in the DB room last year, and there's a lot resting on them unless we go and take a 1st round corner or re-sign a bunch of guys that are set to be free agents. Because I think as of right now, we're not getting Kohu, Rasul Douglas, or Jack Jones back. Which hopefully we can bring at least one of those guys, but.
I was just gonna ask you about Kohu. I was like, Kohu hasn't been talked about a whole lot. A lot of people forgot about him because he went down super early last year. But like secretly, he was one of our best ones before going out.
I think he was our best tackler.
Yeah, that for sure. Like he was definitely our best tackler. But as far as like,
he's good nickel corner.
Yeah.
So that's another position we have to think about replacing, not just a corner, but nickel corner.
How old is Kohu?
I don't know.
He would be in year 4 right now, right?
I think he kind of came from the bottom, right? Like was he undrafted?
Kader Kohu, 27.
He's 27.
27. Yeah, so based on what I said 10 minutes ago, I said basically any of our free agents that are over the age of 27 are probably not going to be here next year based on how much they emphasize young. You know what I mean? I feel like he's probably too old.
I don't know anything about his personality, but maybe if he's like the kind of glue guy that they want to keep around, then, maybe he sticks around. But I think all those like 1-year guys that we just rented last year, like Jack Jones, Rasul Douglas, I don't think they have a shot at getting re-signed. which would mean that we have a lot riding on Storm Duck and what was his name, Marshall Jr.
Yeah.
and the young safety we have as well, Trader.
Although Marshall Jr. came out like the last half of last year and had pretty good games. I mean, he wasn't like knocked the doors off, but he was still holding
Yeah.
his own over there.
Yeah, I just think any of those guys, though, since they weren't, Hafley and Sullivan picks, it's anything goes with those guys.
So let me ask
I'm
you,
excited though. We have what 5 top 100 picks this year, which is good.
and we could end up with more.
Yeah,
We could end up with more if
if we trade down from 11,
which we
that could
should.
put us in a really good spot.
We should definitely
Yeah,
trade down from
depending
11.
on how the board looks, I think trade down could be a very legit option.
Because if you think about it, Arizona doesn't have a number 1 pick, right? And they need a quarterback. There's lots of holes that Arizona needs as well. So Arizona definitely should be a team that like they're on the phone with constantly, whether it's a trade for Tua for Kyler or a trade for you take our 11th pick for a couple of your picks later on in the draft. Like
I don't think they would pull in Kyler Murray at all, but I wouldn't rule out trading down to, was that 34 that they have? Because it's
34.
not that far back. Basically a first round pick.
Yeah, it's the second pick in the second round.
What would they give up? Like a first next year or something, or like?
All right, so basically, let me go through it because I actually in the mock draft that I did, that's who I traded my 11th pick with, and I ended up getting. Let me go back and find it.
There's a few other teams that need QB too that could be interested, like Steelers and the Rams. They've got aging QBs. They might be interested in Ty Simpson.
So yeah, I ended up getting. So for the mock draft, I used which one did I use? It doesn't matter. PFSN, but I used that one, and they ended up. We traded the 11th pick to Arizona, and we got their 34th pick, plus we got a 2027 second round and 2027 third round. From that one. So
I wouldn't mind having a lot of ammo next year.
Yeah.
If we have a lot of ammo for 2027, that could allow us to move up in the draft for our QB if we're looking next draft, and we don't necessarily tank properly.
I mean, we have the schedule to be able to tank properly, right? It's just a matter of.
I know. I look at that schedule and I'm like, I don't know how. I know it's early in the offseason, but I don't know how we would beat most of those teams. I think I see like 3-4 wins that I could be confident in. And that's assuming the Jets don't leapfrog us.
Which they easily could, right? Which
they could if they figure it out. I mean, we can't always rely on the whole concept of Jets being the Jets, right? Like every so often they put it together a little bit.
Because if that's the case, we might as well look at our own team and be like, well, that's oh-so Dolphins. And we're just going to do oh-so Dolphin things. But no, the Jets could easily leapfrog us with how many picks that they have over the next 2 years. They could easily be like competing for the AFC East. We don't know what Buffalo's going to look like
view
next year.
anyone. Whoever that QB is better than Justin Fields, unless it's Justin Fields.
Or Tua. Or Geno.
Yeah. I think Geno's fallen off completely. He looked awful this year.
Horrible. But I mean, it was also the Raiders who were secretly tanking.
Yeah. I know. Maybe they
tanked.
Like maybe Geno was their tank.
Yeah, he didn't do
right,
too
they were
bad
like Geno
with
just
Seattle.
tossed it up.
Like when he was in Seattle, he didn't do too bad. He still had quite a few interceptions, but he had a lot more touchdowns than interceptions. You know what I mean? Like this year, it was like he was racing Tua for the interception lead.
But I think this year kind of proves that a lot of that was their team, the team around them. Like that Seahawks team was so good.
Yeah.
Depth everywhere. Like decently good at every position group.
You think?
And then adding Shaheed this season was such a good move for them.
Probably the reason that they
I
beat
think
San Francisco.
Mhm.
That opening kickoff just fucking set the tone for that game.
Yeah.
Which he's a free agent
I think
this
they'll be
year.
back. They'll be back in the NFC Championship. Seahawks. That division is tough, though.
Yeah, they barely won that division. It was a tough fight. I think everybody was 14-3, or like they were right there around that range. I know they were fighting San Francisco week 18, and that was for the division lead for the number 1 seed. Crazy.
Imagine being Fernando Mendoza, about to be first overall pick, and you go to the division where you're up against insane QB head coach combos, and you probably don't stand a chance at winning that division. You got Onyx and Sean Payton, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and then Harbaugh and Herbert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's not.
Like, no matter what the Raiders do, it's going to take a long time for them to compete in that division.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
They
not
could
intriguing.
shock you.
And I think that's kind of why, what's his name, Trinidad Chambliss probably wanted to go back to college because he didn't want to end up a New York Jet. Same with Dante Moore. They're both like, like, what? We gonna end up a Jet? Nah. Let's run it back in college one more year. You know, let's see let's try our luck in 2027 when there's a lot more quarterbacks to choose from.
Right. I think the fact that Dante Moore is returning is why Ty Simpson decided to go for the draft. Maybe Ty's probably thinking, well, shoot, if I go like second overall or whatever the Jets have, I'm not mad about it. After playing a year of college football or whatever he has.
I'm definitely excited. We got a lot of things. I didn't realize I was going to be so excited for a rebuild, to be honest, man. But some of the things...
Well, we've been waiting for this for a while, right? We've all been kind of like tired of Grier, tired of Tua, tired of like the whole Flores to McDaniel thing. We've been waiting for this clean reset.
And I believe it goes back further than just like Tua and McDaniel. You know, I believe it goes back further than that because if you look back, we've never... I don't recall that we've ever done like a full reset, a full rebuild, like tear everything down to the bare knuckle bottom and start over like completely. And that's what it feels like we're doing right now. Like we replaced GM, coach, most of the players are gone. Coaching staff is completely new. I think we only retained
90% overall coaching staff. There's only like 3 guys that remained around.
I was gonna say there was like 3 guys that we kept around. And those guys hadn't been here for more than a year. Those guys were all kind of fresh themselves. Like Bobby Slowick, he got here last year. Barry has probably been here the longest, right? So.
Yeah, I don't remember what years everyone got here.
Yeah, I haven't. I didn't.
Completely new coach.
I didn't start keeping up with coaching tenure until last year. So.
You think anyone will follow McDaniel over to the Chargers?
I wouldn't be surprised if Tyreek follows him over there, to be honest, because like I don't
Or
remember.
Ingold.
I don't remember if you remember me having the interviews with Tyreek Hill and talking about like him wanting to stay and like him having his conversation with Mike McDaniel, but like all of that felt like it was contingent on Mike McDaniel being in Miami because when he went live the day that Mike McDaniel got fired, he literally went live like within an hour of Mike McDaniel getting fired, right? And his whole attitude seemed different towards the Miami Dolphins. Like the type of way that he was talking was completely different. Like you could see it. It's almost like night and day. Like he was excited and like hoping his future was in Miami, but then when he found out that Mike McDaniel got fired, he was talking like, well, it is what it is. If I end up here, yada, yada, like that type of switch.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's like his optimism was court ordered. Now all of a sudden, doesn't have to be all, super happy go team we have. He probably knew he was getting cut too.
Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, the moment McDaniel was gone.
Oh, yeah, he's probably had those emotions rolling through. Well, now I'm going to be looking for a new job. Where do you think he's going to land?
Right. Kansas City.
Kansas City. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I think they're stacked at receiver. But you never know with Rashee Rice, like if he's gonna be suspended or anything. And then they had the injuries last year, and that guy ran into
Travis Kelce.
was that Rice as well?
Yeah, it
Or
was Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy.
Xavier, yeah, Worthy. So I think if Tyreek was gonna want to go somewhere to finish his career, he'd go back to Kansas City, because Kansas City there. I think that last year was a fluke. They'll be back competing right in the mix of things this season. They'll be back. They're not just gonna,
Hey, do you
bow
remember?
down.
Do you remember when I first started showing up in Pete's takes last off season, and I was telling y'all that Kansas City wasn't even going to make the playoffs this year? You remember y'all calling me crazy?
Probably.
I remember it. Those are receipts that we stick in our pocket. And we transfer them from pant to pant.
I had no faith for both the Broncos and the Patriots. I thought weren't going to be anything this year, and I was completely wrong.
So let me ask you your opinion on that. Like I don't feel like the Patriots are going to come out next year and be able to repeat what they did this year. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think they'll come back to reality. I think they'll still compete for the division, but I don't think that they'll be like one seed competing type of thing.
As dominant as
But
they
I think,
were.
yeah, I'm like the biggest Vrabel hater, so there's a little bit of bias there. But I also, and I do like May as a QB. He used to make fun of him mostly just because he was a Patriot, but I do think he's a good developing QB. The problem is they have a lot of money to spend, so they could go buck wild in free agency if they want to. Or they could like slowly build up a dynasty. I have a feeling they're going to be aggressive in free agency because they had the taste of the Super Bowl and just didn't get it. So now they're going to be trying to win. Basically, the expectation is to make it back to the Super Bowl for them. I don't think it'll happen. I think the Bills and the Patriots will be right around 10, 11 wins, battling with each other for first in the division. I think Dolphins and Jets will be hanging out around five wins.
So you don't think the Bills are going to take much of a dip with their new head coach? You don't think that's going to be affecting anything?
If they take even the slightest dip, like if they finish with 10 wins, I think, and they don't make it to the AFC Championship, I think that coach gets fired.
Joe Brady?
Your expectations have to be greater than, like, it has to be AFC Championship or bust. For Brady. Like, otherwise they're going to look so dumb moving on from McDermott.
Yeah, completely.
They'll look dumb either way.
I don't understand it. I really don't understand it myself. Like, what did Joe Brady show you? Didn't he just get there like 2 years ago? And like, as far as I'm concerned, the only thing he did was clean up Josh Allen's interceptions. And the way that he did that was just stop having him throw the ball down the field so much. It wasn't like anything special or spectacular. They ran the ball more. They used Josh Allen's size to just be physical at the line of scrimmage.
It's very possible that 2027 is like the year that everyone starts to look at Josh Allen a little differently. Right? Because it feels like it was his call to have Brady as the head coach. And if Allen doesn't have a good season, people are going to be like, this guy's kind of like, that's going to be his legacy, as he tried to take over the team and it didn't work.
And what you said right there, it feels like it was Josh Allen's call for Joe Brady to become the head coach, because in the media it was specified that Josh Allen was in the rooms and he did have a lot of say in who became the next head coach.
Right.
With that being said, I feel like the Buffalo Bills are going to take a big dip next year because I feel like Josh Allen wanted Joe Brady as the head coach for the sense that Josh Allen can kind of have more say in what happens. So it's kind of going to be like an Aaron Rodgers situation when he was in New York, kind of making a lot of the decisions, like saying what goes and this and that and this and that. And I feel like that's what's going to end up happening, which is going to hurt them a lot because Josh Allen, I'm sorry, dude. Yeah, you're a good football player. You're a big guy, but I don't think you can play quarterback and play coach and do all of these things. I think he'll end up going back to the
what is he,
pass-happy
29
Josh
years old?
Allen. Yeah, go back to the pass-happy Josh Allen that throws 4 interceptions a game and pretty much throws the season away.
Yeah, I mean, to think any of these guys under the age of 40, like while they're playing, can be like a player, like coach basically, or to like think that they have the best possible knowledge of how the team needs to be set up is crazy.
I mean, like, look at Tom Brady, the best that had ever done it. Like, he never tried to do that. Like, he wasn't at any moment be like, oh, don't worry, you can get rid of Bill Belichick. I'll run the team. I'll pass the ball, and we'll still win Super Bowls. Don't worry. Like, no, he was like...
I think we were at risk of Tua becoming one of those. Had Tua shown any kind of success after his contract, we would have been, like, on our knees for him as an organization.
Tua.
But
Oh, Lord, Tua. I can't wait to throw those
it
parties.
feels like a giant itch that we've had for years. Some of us have had it for 6 years, some of us not as many years, but it feels like that itch is just about to be scratched.
What is your confidence level? What is your confidence level that he will be cut or traded and off this team, and what would that look like to you?
High confidence. I think that if they were intending to keep him around, they would have already been toting the whole QB competition thing real hard. They would have been talking Tua up already if he was going to be around. The fact that it's been a ghost town about his name and they don't seem committal at all, and they're given that verbiage like, oh, he can be a great QB in this league. That's crazy to say about a player on your team. The former franchise QB, say he'll be a great player in this league is wild.
Right, and like the way that he said it too, there was like a pause and a stutter when he said it.
So non-committal, which made me feel good. Right, that's what gives me high confidence that honestly, if the only reason he hasn't been cut and they just don't rip the whole Band-Aid off right now is because I think they're still trying to figure out a possible trade where a team is really just taking on his contract. We don't get anything out of the trade, maybe like a 7th round pick or something, but they take on the contract. And if that happens, we're talking a real offseason, right? We're talking where like restructures start happening. All those other guys we just cut, we're going to scrape together a little bit of money to go out and buy a few pieces to complement our draft picks and actually try to compete this year instead of feeling like we have to wait until 2027 to build.
Yeah, and that's that. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the ideal situation that the Miami Dolphins can land right now. And I tell you what, if Jeff Hafley and Eric Sullivan can land that to where we can actually clear us of Tua completely and still be able to go out in this offseason and put together a team to go out there and at least perform and compete, they get flowers. Straight up, I'm going to find out where they live and I'm sending them big ass bouquets of flowers. Like
we don't even need anything in return. Just take on the money or most of the money.
Because
I don't
that's
know
what we
if
need.
that
That's what we need the most.
Right?
Because if not, if they can't get a trade, right? If they can't get a trade together, we're gonna either have to cut him pre-June 1st, and we do what? Save $28 million, but we have to spread it out over the next 2 years, right? Or we can cut him post June 1st. What that would do is if we cut him post June 1st, that would basically we pay him all of the money that we owe him, and that would clear out cap space for 2027. Or we're stuck riding it out him being in the locker room, possibly being a bad seed in the locker room, causing drama, causing turmoil. He's already shown that he's not a us guy like what Sully and Hafley say that they're looking for. He's a me guy. It seems like show me the money. Proved it right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And if they can't trade him, then I want them to just go ahead and do all 99 million or whatever it is right now. Because think about it, like that extra 30 million that we'd get by just stretching it over the 2 years, it's not really going to do us that good. Like what are we going to do with that extra 30 million this year that's actually going to make us eat?
Nothing.
Right.
And
So
a
just
year
take
that,
the whole hit this year and go into 2027 clean.
yeah, especially being in a year that we already know is like, this is a wash year, ladies and gentlemen. This is probably why Sully accepted this job, knowing like, well, next year is really tough. It'd be easy for me to sell a tank. Like I can clear out all the cap space. And then 2027 is really when like my work begins and starting to build this team for the future.
Yeah. I think that is like his intention, right? Like he knows he's kind of safe this year, regardless of what happens record wise. He kind of came out like already saying he's like, look, guys, I want to win. But no one was really questioning that to him yet. So he's already kind of posturing like a coach that's about to be in a tank would. Say, no, we're going to do our best to win, yada, yada, yada. But there's not going to be really any moves to show that. In fact, what we did was we got all the big chunks of money of our best players. That's indicative of a tank.
Which for the real fans, like those are the types of moves we're looking for, right? We're looking for positive future moves. Like these aren't, we're not looking for immediate satisfaction. Like the Tyreek Hill coming here, now that we look back at it after 4 years, like that was kind of like an immediate satisfaction type of thing that first year, and then from then on it was kind of just mediocre. Like yeah, he was the highlight of our team, but at the same time he wasn't highly productive. He didn't take us to the Super Bowl.
Who are you, like, let's just say wins and losses aren't important, and we're just watching games now to see who's developing, who is going to be a key player in this team. Like, who are you looking at this year to see that out of?
Well, I really like Jordan Brooks. He earned a lot from me last year as far as respect goes, especially there towards the end of the season when I was watching him try to sprawl out for interceptions in games that didn't even matter, games that were already lost. Like he's still out there putting his body on the line, trying to reach for those interceptions. So if on the defensive side of the ball, definitely Jordan Brooks. And then for the offensive side of the ball, I'd like to see Dulcich. I'd like to see Dulcich keep Dulcich and see how he gets used.
Good one.
I mean, other than that, like obviously A-Chain, like what are we gonna do with A-Chain? But we've talked about that enough. And I'm trying to talk about some of the guys that people may not be looking directly at every single day. People that go over the radar or under the radar. And then if we draft a QB, which we most likely will be drafting a QB at some point in this draft this year. Sully pretty much said that in his presser today at the combine. Like he didn't say you can guarantee that we're going to be drafting a quarterback every year, but in the stories that he was telling and in between the lines, if you read it, he was saying like every year we're going to be drafting a guy until we find a guy. So whatever quarterback that is that we draft, I will be definitely keeping a close eye on that battle right there, obviously, because it's the most important battle on the team. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let me know down in the comments who y'all think might be the quarterback that they draft. I want to know, so I can like start doing some research on these guys, looking at some tape and going through it and picking my favorite. Because right now my favorite is Taylor Green.
I think Alar, Nussmeier, Alar, and Beck is what that makes me think of by saying that, because it's probably low investment, like 3rd, 4th round pick. Those are all prototypical build guys too.
Yeah, I haven't
I
looked.
have a player that I secretly won. He's a sleeper. I think he'll be 7th-rounder undrafted, and that's Joe Fagnano out of UConn. I think he's the next Joe Flacco.
Which isn't a world beater, but Joe Flacco's a Super Bowl winner. He's consistent in that.
Yeah, and he's still proven as a veteran. He stepped in big time this year.
Although
Did you watch the game?
I didn't like
filled in.
I didn't like Joe Flacco when he was in Cleveland. I didn't like the part about him where he was kind of being selfish, and he didn't want to like train the young guys. Like for me, that kind of felt like, yeah, that's like, bro, you're in your 40s. That's kind of your job. Yeah. He was like, oh, it's not my job to help these guys.
Hey, remember Tannehill said that when the Titans drafted Levis?
Yeah, he did. I do remember. Yeah, Tannehill said that too. It's like, it kind of is your job, dude. You're over 40. Like, yeah, you're probably the best quarterback on the team.
You know what it is? A lot of these guys, they're speaking their minds now instead of trying to keep it like, fan friendly type of thing.
Yeah.
And Tua was most guilty of that this past year.
How do you
Tua needed PR training bad.
How do you spell that guy's name? Fan what? Joe?
Fagnano. Hopefully the G is silent. I think it's Italian.
Okay. It looks Italian. Sounds Italian. Yeah, so I'll
yeah,
look him
tall
up.
guy at UConn. Used to play at Maine. UConn's got a receiver that's real fast, it gets real good separation.
And that's the key, right? We want to find guys late because we want to get value. We want to get more valuable pieces early on because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we can roll with Quinn Ewers next year and things be completely fine because like we said, it's not about the wins and losses next year. It's about clearing out the cap, evaluating the players that we have, developing a culture in this locker room so that we can build 2027 and beyond. So that we can build a successful, sustainable, winning culture team for the future. Next year, wins and losses doesn't matter. So if we get a bust at quarterback, Quinn Ewers will be good enough. Anybody but Tua.
Yeah, I'd like to get. Yeah, for real. They need to clean the QB room with bleach when he leaves, and then I think they need to bring in someone like Jameis Winston, like a veteran that would be helpful to Ewers or the other guy that he's competing with that hopefully we draft anywhere between the 3rd and 7th round.
Let me get your opinion on this. The best. Now, I don't think that he's going to become available. I do think that he's going to stick around with the team that he's with. But in my opinion, if he becomes available, I think our best option, if we're going to go that route and grab somebody like a veteran, Aaron Rodgers. I believe that he would be the best option that we could have. Because not only would it be best as far as price point goes, because you could easily get him for $10 million or less for the year, but as far as training and comfortability goes, because he's already worked with Hafley, he's already worked with Sullivan, or not Hafley, but he's already worked with Sullivan, because like Sullivan was there when he got drafted and shit. And you can't tell me that if we, even with the current roster that we have on this team, that if we were to insert Aaron Rodgers as quarterback, that it doesn't immediately make us at least playoff contention. Look what he did last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers, not having any kind of receiving core, rolling out there with 3 tight ends that can't catch the ball to save their lives. A running back room of just regular guys.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
We do play. Obviously, we play the Jets twice, and we play the Packers. That would be. And they would put on some prime time with him, right? They'd be able to sell tickets and jerseys and stuff if they brought Rodgers in.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I don't know what the pay would be like. I would assume he would be paid well.
He like last year he played for Pittsburgh for $10 million for the year.
Oh, that's nothing.
That's nothing. That's about the same what we paid for Zach Wilson. That didn't do nothing. Didn't even take a single snap for us all year long. lost the job to our rookie.
That's interesting. Yeah, that could. I haven't really thought about it seriously. A few people had mentioned it.
Like,
If we
honestly,
did
that's
draft a guy, having Ewers and the drafted guy in the QB room with Rodgers, it wouldn't be a real QB battle at that point. Rodgers would be the starter.
Yeah,
but
Rodgers would be
having
the
those
starter.
two guys behind them would be phenomenal for them.
But you can't tell me that wouldn't literally put us on the same trajectory that the Green Bay Packers are on. I feel like it
Well, I guess when 2027 rolls around and let's say Rodgers is just one and done, right? And he's not the QB anymore. Are you looking at that 2027 QB class and saying, okay, we should grab one of these guys, or are we just going to assume that Quinn/the other rookie we drafted prior had soaked in enough from Rodgers to start in 2027? Like, where would we still feel like we need to invest in that talented QB class?
I think honestly, they're probably the first 3 years they're going to be drafting a quarterback or multiple quarterbacks.
Like at least one per draft.
Yeah, just to know that they got the guy, because we've seen it happen. We saw it happen with Tua. Have one good year and then like nothing from there, you know.
Yeah, I mean, look, next year it could easily be more Chambliss, Manning, Mensa, Sayin. There could be like a ton of them in there.
A ton. You can draft multiple. You can draft multiple quarterbacks if you need to. But yeah, and even moving beyond this year, right? Even going into 2027 year, like if it works out and Aaron Rodgers is liking it, like who's to say we don't just sign him as like still put him on the roster, sign him for another cheap 1-year deal, just literally to be a mentor. Like you're not going to play snaps this year. You're just coming. You're still on the team. You're still a quarterback, but you're not the starter. You're like here training.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Aaron Rodgers would be good for that another 2 years. But who knows? Like we all thought that he was going to retire last year.
Well, I mean, like this is the perfect place for someone to go play out 1 to 2 final years of their long career.
Yeah, especially if you're
like
only
he doesn't have to worry about cold weather very often.
Yeah.
Right. We have a decent left tackle and hopefully decent left guard, right? So his blind side should be like pretty well protected.
And like I said, our offensive line could immediately become better as soon as they start blocking for a real quarterback, a right-handed quarterback.
Yeah.
We don't know what that's going to look like until next year, but I have confidence that it will be better than it has been. So,
Would there be a trade where someone takes on like half of Tua's salary by getting him, and we still end up paying like a little bit of what we'd owed him, but they take on like a half or a bulk of the contract over the next 2 years?
you would have to find it.
Is that something that could happen?
I mean, we would have to find a team that could, for one, could afford it, and for two, needs it. And there's not a lot of teams.
Well, for them, because then they'd end up only paying like 30 something for Tua, right? Let's say they only had to pay 30 million this year for Tua. We paid 30 million this year for Tua. That's kind of a win-win for both parties because it allows us to kind of like maneuver a little bit better this year as we're rebuilding. And then the team that's trying to see if it works with him, they don't have to pay as much as he's like truly commanded in his contract. I don't know if that's possible to like split the contract from a trade like preseason.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure anything is possible. It just matters. It just depends on how you word the contract, like how you do it. Like I'm sure that's possible.
If they do anything like that, just even like the most bare minimum value of a trade for Tua, I'll be ecstatic.
Oh, it'd be the best thing in the world, man. Like Because, like you said earlier, it would give us the opportunity to become immediately relevant and not like
Yeah, the monkey's off
next
the
year
back.
relevant. You know what I mean? Like we don't have to wait till next year to start actually rolling and being excited and like going out and talking shit in the bar. Because like I know Dolphin fans, we want to get back to being able to go sit in a bar and talk shit to the Falcons fan or the Chiefs fan sitting across from us, but we can't confidently. We could talk all the shit we want, but you know, deep down inside, you're like, man, all this shit I'm spewing out my mouth right now is bogus. We want to get back to that. We want to get back to that.
We have a lot of very pro Quinn Ewers fans. So like a lot of people feel good about the fact that like we're already set in our ways. I was on Pete's channel last night. Pete is definitely one of those very pro Quinn people.
Yeah,
I was thinking about it. Do you think other fan bases are like, oh, if they lose Tua, they're good. They got Quinn. I don't think any other team's fan base is looking at the Dolphins situation and being like they have their next QB on the roster already.
I mean, maybe only people that were like watching Texas football and watching Quinn Ewers play. Isn't that where he played, right? Texas?
Yeah, that would have been like if we were looking at the Bucks and being like, "Oh, they got Kyle Trask. They're good to go after Brady." That's how it feels to me. Like we know a little bit more about Quinn, and we've like watched him a little bit more intensely because we've been so like ready for Tua to be gone. I don't think any other like just general NFL fan is even thinking about Quinn Ewers as a Dolphin QB.
Yeah, especially with how far back he fell. Yeah, no, man. Like,
Yeah, Cam Miller and Curtis Rourke got drafted before Quinn Ewers did.
didn't we?
I don't even know if those guys made a team.
Didn't we pick up Cam Miller?
I can't remember.
Isn't he on our team now? Like, I feel like we picked him up a couple weeks ago after the season ended.
That's cool.
There may be some.
There were a lot of QBs drafted last year. There were like 14 QBs.
Cam Miller is a rookie quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, having been signed to their active roster on January 1st of 26. He was originally selected by the Las Vegas Raiders in the 6th round of the 2025 draft.
Oh, so that was like what, week 18?
Yeah, it was like I said, it was like the season was already over, and I feel like I saw my notification come through saying that we signed Cam Miller.
I think, in my opinion, the ship has sailed on the whole Malik Willis to the Dolphins thing. I'd be shocked if that move happened.
In my honest opinion, bro, that ship never got its sails up to start sailing. Like the crew didn't show up to go to work, bro. Like Malik Willis showed up to the ship and nobody else was there, bro. He was like, well.
Do you think he'll be starting somewhere? Do you think someone's going to pay him $30 million and start him?
Yeah, I do think that somebody will look at that and be like, all right, let's bring him over here.
Like Pittsburgh, maybe?
If Aaron Rodgers decides to leave, yeah, Pittsburgh or the Rams could take him. The Rams could pick him up because like they still need an answer for after Stafford. So they could end up looking at Malik Willis as an option to pick the team up after Stafford leaves. Not that I feel like Malik Willis fits
he ends up being trash. They draft here.
Exactly. Who are some others?
Think about that. Yeah, the Rams would be a good one.
You have the Atlanta Falcons, but I don't feel like they've already made that mistake with Kirk Cousins, like having a number one with Michael Penix Jr. So I don't think they'll make that.
You think he's good? I don't think Penix is very good.
No, I haven't seen anything good out of him yet. But I haven't really watched a whole lot of their games, and I watched his gameplay. Like when I'm watching them, I'm usually paying more attention to Bijan Robinson than Michael Penix.
Was that whole team. And Drake London. Drake London's a great receiver. Algier is a great second running back. He had the tools around him.
makes them to be like fool's gold.
In my honest
They got a
opinion,
new coach, right?
yeah, they did Stefanski, and that's why I'm surprised. That's why I'm surprised that they're getting rid of Kirk Cousins, because I like Kirk and Stefanski have history together. So I
Well, maybe
felt
that's
like,
why.
yeah, I mean, maybe it wasn't a good history. I just felt like it was a good. I felt like Kirk Cousins would have been a good crutch for Stefanski to be able to lean on going into his first year as a head coach, especially in a team like the Atlanta Falcons. But maybe he didn't feel that way.
Who do you think's going to be the worst team this year? Worst team in the NFL?
The worst team in the NFL? Oh boy, how do you be the worst team in the? I think the Tennessee Titans are still going to be the worst team. I don't think.
I kind of agree. I mean, if Cam Ward doesn't take like a huge leap, and if they don't have a very loud offseason, then I think they're cruising for that first pick.
I don't think they're set up for a good offseason, are they? Yeah, they have a high.
I don't know much about their.
Yeah, I don't know what their cap space looks like. I don't know what their contracts look like for sure. But from the outside looking in, they do have a couple rookies. They picked up a rookie tight end last year. They picked up a rookie running back the year before that. So, and then Cam Ward last year.
Who are
So
their
it's
receivers?
they don't really have any good receivers. Who's that Arroyo guy? They have he was a rookie.
Yeah, the one that played at Miami with Ward, and they had that the strange name, DK or whatever, Mara.
But yeah, they have a lot of young talent on that team. So they're either going to be the worst team or they're going to be the surprising team that somehow takes a leap in year two. What if it's us? It could be us. They literally could. I just didn't want to say that. They are. Trust me, we were on my mind.
I would be pumped, man. If we actually did lock down that first overall pick.
Yeah, but let me
imagine that the content that off season, you'd have everyone on the Manning train.
I don't care about the content when it comes to my Dolphins team. I cover the content that they present to me. I don't want to create content that's not necessarily for the betterment of the team. I don't care about the content.
I'm saying during February, March.
Yeah, no, but my question is do we really want the pressure of the first pick? Do we want that pressure, right?
No. You know why? Our last two top 5 picks, we busted. Tua and Deion Jordan.
And who's to say that Manning isn't a bust?
Well, I think he's most likely a bust, but there will definitely be that crowd that swears by his name, right? Because they miss the good old days of the Manning brothers.
And to me, if you want me to be honest, it kind of seems like Sully and Hafley are listening to the fans and some of the decisions that they're making. If you want my opinion,
I think they listen to your channel.
I wouldn't go that far, but but I do feel like they're listening to the fans, and that's another reason why I feel like they're going to do everything they can, or they're going to do whatever it takes to get rid of Tua, because I feel like he's the last bad seed in the bunch, or not the last, but one of the last, the biggest bad seed in the bunch, and the fans are griping about it, and I do feel like they're kind of listening to the fans. They're not letting the fans make their decisions, but they're listening to the fans and taking them into consideration when making their decisions. But I could be wrong, and it could just be my thoughts aligning with their thoughts. Because I honestly, I don't.
Cuts Tua?
Did he cut?
And Tua goes on to have a great career somewhere.
I don't care.
I don't think anyone will ever hold that against Sullivan.
I don't care. Let him go win a Super Bowl in Arizona. I could care less.
Right.
He was never going to do that here.
like the Vikings fans, they should be pissed, right? Because they probably shouldn't have moved on from Darnold, but they did. But for us, we should have moved on from Tua, and we didn't, right? So, I think the Giants is a perfect example as well. Daniel Jones went on to do nice things this year. I don't think Giants fans should be mad about that. It wasn't really working out in New York for Daniel Jones. They did the right thing.
Yeah, I mean,
after doing the wrong thing by signing him.
Same with Saquon Barkley, you know what I mean? And like they even came out with a statement when they traded Saquon Barkley, because like they had to come out with some kind of statement. You know, you're trading him to a division rival in the Eagles.
That part was kind of crazy.
You better come out with some kind of statement on why you did this. You know what I mean? Like, and they came out with a statement and was like, it was better for Barkley. Like, we care about the player. We wanted him to do big things and yada yada. I don't remember exactly what the statement said, but that they were leaning along the lines like we wanted Barkley to have a better chance at a career.
Right. Sullivan could do the same exact thing with
Tua. Yeah.
Right, and people will look at that as like a good thing. Like, be like, great, we have a smart and also like morally good GM.
Well, not only that,
like,
not
easy
only
points for him.
Yeah, not only for like our fan base, but like from the people on the outside looking in. You know, like they're gonna, just like how I talked about the Giants statement. Like, there's gonna be Giants fans out there talking about how, like, oh, they let Tua go so he can have a better career, yada yada. That was so nice of them. When really it was like we were pushing his ass out because he fucking sucked and we wanted him out of there. All right, well,
something that's been on my mind that I've been wanting to ask someone about is these divisional games. They're sending them. They're putting divisional games overseas now in the international stadiums.
Here within the
Can you imagine?
Here within the next 2 years, you're gonna see every single team play a game overseas.
Yeah. I never thought they would touch the divisional games, right? Because you get two of those, a home and home, and or a home and away, and you like if one of those is in a neutral stadium, losing one of your home divisional games is wild to me.
Yeah, I see where you're coming out there, I guess, but it's also too
Like conference on conference is one thing, but like divisional is kind of like you should have your home field advantage for your divisional games. At least how the schedule's set up for right now. But I think it's going to be a thing of the future, right? The Rams and the Niners play each other in Australia this season. What if we end up going back to Spain, right? And we have our home game that's supposed to be against the Jets in 2027 ends up being in Madrid.
Or the Bills home game.
Right. Well, I don't think they're going to touch the Bills home games for a while.
Yeah, you have to look at.
I hope that new stadium.
Yeah, you probably have to look at the games that aren't going to bring in a lot of audience to begin with, right? And those are the games that you want to send overseas, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think the Rams Niners gets a pretty good draw, but
yeah. Well, you can't.
You know why they picked it for? They picked the West Coast team. I think that makes sense, right? To go all the way to Australia instead of grabbing an East Coast team to play, like to be a 12-hour difference.
Well, don't you
get
just,
another West Coast?
Don't you just fly the other way and go back in time instead of going forward in time?
No, it's still it would. I think it's still faster to go to Australia going over the Pacific from Florida, from the East Coast. Plus, you don't have to fly over like Iraq and Iran and all that nonsense, and Russia, Africa, Israel, areas that you don't really want to be in a plane.
Yeah, definitely not. But it's gonna be a fun off season, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta get off here and finish cooking dinner because my dad had to leave, go pick up my mom from work. So we got chicken out there cooking on the grill, and I need to go finish it. It was fun talking to you, Joe. Can't wait
Yeah.
to talk to you again. I was listening to you guys on Peach Channel last night, but I was driving back from North Carolina, and like all my family was in the back sleeping, and I was like, I just want to join and talk because like it's so quiet, and like I got a long ass drive home, but I didn't. So I was
He's got
listening.
the Quinn Ewers love is at Skylar Thompson levels for him right now.
Yeah,
It's going to be hilarious.
You got to be careful with Pete. Like I love Pete and everything. Like he's right on a lot of things. Like he randomly gets right on a lot of things, but that's because he spits out everything that goes through his brain. He's like, oh, yep, that, yeah.
Yeah,
So
what's that saying? A broken clock is right twice a day.
correct. You know what I mean? So he does go out with a lot of crazy stuff, but at the same time, he's been right about a lot of crazy things. He thinks outside of the box. He's very much like me when it comes to like thinking about things. It's kind of like you take a step back and you look at it from a different lens, and then you take a step back further and look through that lens from a different lens. It's like you kind of figure a little bit of things out. Yeah, it makes you sound crazy sometimes until you're right. And then you just kind of sit back and load up a stream and make up some more crazy stuff. But it was fun. It's going to be a fun off season, ladies and gentlemen. I can't wait. I can't wait to continue covering Dolphin football for you guys. You got any last words for him, Joe?
No, I guess just everyone keep your heads up. Get ready for that itch to be scratched when Tua is cut or traded.
Oh, yeah, because it's going to be a party on YouTube for sure. For sure. Yes. All right, until next time, everybody. Peace out. We'll catch you again. Fins up.
Peace.